crap rares or something like that, or they were good constructed rares for
Right.
standard or modern or whatever, but not good and limited.
Welcome everybody to post
Hey,
season week 2, week 20, whatever you want to call it.
2020 twin.
And we're live.
What's up, everybody?
hello.
Playoffs.
It's time.
That's like the perfect quote.
It is, and we'll welcome in by taking another one of my shots that I still have available.
okay.
So let's wipe off the Miami versus New England one.
You got it. I'll mark that off for you.
Johnny Walker.
Playoffs?
Playoffs.
I like that you saved the McLaurin bets for last.
Yeah, well, those are the ones that I feel the least bad about because I like McLaurin.
Yeah. We just had different frames of mind, like different.
No, it's not that. He just, to be quite honest with you, he did a lot more than I think a lot of people expected based on how the Commanders were playing. Because if like at week 6, that bet looked, a lot of those bets looked gold for me
because Wentz was still in there. Yeah.
Yes, and we didn't expect that to happen. Like,
Well, yeah, we didn't expect Wentz to ignore McLaurin, ignore his best receiver on the field.
No.
I'm just like, what the
Right,
hell?
but once he was doing that, that's when I made the bet, and then Wentz got hurt.
Yeah.
And it changed. Everything turned around for you because Heineke came in and started hyper targeting McLaurin. So, like
he should.
Sure, like he should. Agreed. McLaurin's awesome. Totally agree with you. The bet was still solid when I made it because Carson Wentz is garbage. So can we agree on that?
That Wentz is garbage. Yes. we
Yes, and
definitely agree on that.
the bets would have been much more iffy for you had Wentz not gotten hurt.
I think we really. I wish we would have wrote down what week, but because I think we made those like week 1 or 2. Like they were very early on.
They were early, but it was late enough that I had.
Yeah, because DJ Moore.
It was late enough that I. Well.
Those are definitely early bets. DJ Moore and Lazard. I mean, those are people that we were higher on early in the season and late.
We'll
season.
have to go back and look.
Yeah, I'm curious.
McLaurin finished okay as a wide receiver too.
Yeah, high end wide receiver.
I would
too,
say
yeah.
high end.
Well, I mean, he's probably what 15, 16.
I think it was.
that's
20.
high end.
I don't think. I'm not sure if he finished in the top 20 actually.
Let's look that one up because I'd say better than top 20.
I wouldn't say higher than 16. That'd be the highest I'd say he.
I think he's right around 16.
So, and to me, that's like that's that borderline high end.
It's a really good number 2 receiver.
It's like borderline high end.
It's not borderline. Yeah. All right. Well, while we got a minute.
So, did we get the new numbers and input for DraftKings?
No, not yet.
We don't need those. We're fine.
That's
Brian,
a terrible
Brian
picture.
can take a 0.
What if I
That's
get
fine.
that All right. What were the numbers again for DraftKings?
Mine was 150.30 or 0.38. You're on yours though.
That's okay. That still works. Yeah. I was 90 something, 97.
I was 115.66.
97.34 for you, Ray. Yeah, overtook him for the season lead again.
Oh, you got the points now? You did have a good week.
We've been passing that back and forth for a month now.
And what was last week's games result? 6-8-8?
I was 6-0. Brian was 4-2, and you were 3-3.
So 3-4-6, right? I heard that right. 3-4-6.
I had 6. Yeah. 3-6. Yeah. Okay.
Well, do you want to talk about your Cowboys? What's up, Sober Money?
McLaurin's number 16.
16? 16. Yeah, called it. All right, so
I called it. You called 20.
I said 16.
I said 15 or 16.
I
You
said
more like 20.
I said I wouldn't say higher than 16.
You said 20.
No, I didn't. I said
you did.
no. At the time that you questioned it, I said I'm not sure if he finished in the top 20, and then you started looking it up.
So why am I looking it up if we agreed?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. You keep doing this. You keep wanting to split hairs on McLaurin.
Because I'm right.
I'm more right than you. I'm this much more right than you.
Oh, that's right.
This shot is mine, right? From
Yes,
the
sir.
loser games.
That's why it's got the Rams on it there. There you go.
Yeah.
And then my other shots are going to be tequila. No more scotch for me.
So I had the least amount of draft or pick'ems. I lost the pick'ems last week, so pick my shot.
Just grab that Kirkland one over there.
We need some more tequila in here, dude.
Guess I should have got that when I was shopping.
Yeah, you should have. Yeah, we have bourbon down. You should have got tequila, dude.
I felt like I was getting a lot of tequila this season, so I thought we had too much.
drinking a
but
lot.
We were
I guess
drinking a lot
too
of
much. Whoopsie. All right. We'll correct that next time.
Good old mixing tequila. I don't have any tequila on the other side.
No, I don't think so. No, that's a Seagram's bottle on the other side.
So,
Maybe down there might be. I think there's
You
a
know,
purple
the
bottle.
interesting thing about that is we're thinking about playing a dynasty league next week, or not next week, next season. Maybe if we get a lot of interest,
I'm
we'll.
trying to do it. I'm trying to get us in a dynasty here. Brian is apprehensive because
I think it was me. that
you
was
know
more
I'm going to do
apprehensive
it,
about
but I'm worried.
dude, I just
You have to have 12 set guys.
I got Garrett Wilson this week.
I think we want to do like a
For-
5-year buy-in, so people can't just. up
You
and
know
run.
what? I like that too. I'm not opposed to that. That's like, it'd be, so the one that I really like the league that I'm in right now. It's 12 man. It's $50 per person per year. There's a payout for first and second, and then a rollover, and the rollover can only be claimed by a back-to-back champion. So it's going to continue to roll over every
Yeah.
year until somebody wins twice in a row. And right now, that rollover pot's at $350 after 1 year.
Oh, this guy says he's got
300. 300. It's half the pot. It's 300. That's
Wow.
what it is. Yeah, I think so. I think it was $250 for first, and then $50 for second, and then the rest of it rolled over. I think I'd have to double check, but
Man, that's a big rollover. Sorry, what were you saying?
So there's a
Win
couple
twice.
things we want to try next year. The Dynasty, we're thinking that's up in the air, and the Gauntlet League. And I think really what's going to determine that is how much interest we get from viewers to join in on us with that. So continue to tune in. Friday is the 7:00 hour, and then we're going to probably pick like one Friday a month out in between seasons to get together still.
Yep. Keep things going. Let you know what's going on with the draft, what happened, all that good stuff. Just kind of keep up to date once a month or so.
yeah, stay plugged in.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the great thing about Dynasty is it keeps you plugged in, and it makes so many other things more like relevant. You know,
Yeah.
like right now as a Dynasty manager, I'm watching all the coaching changes and
Right.
seeing who's going to land where and which offenses are going to be better, and which players are going to like maybe there's a third string, or not, I shouldn't say flex wide receivers and backup running backs and stuff like that aren't good right now. But let's say what happens when Sean Payton goes to Houston.
So Sober
That's
Money,
not going to happen.
It could happen, absolutely.
Sober Money is saying that they have it where you trade future picks, you have to pay half that year's fee.
What's that?
Wow, so you can trade picks for the fee?
That's what he's saying.
I don't know if I like that.
I don't know about that either.
Yeah.
How's it working out? You
Because
guys
now,
liking
it
it?
seems like teams are going to be like free rolling. You know what I
It
mean?
seems like it would affect the pot
Yeah.
at some point.
I don't know.
Well,
That one seems a little iffy.
I would imagine
depending on
like
rules,
the person that you trade.
Because like you wouldn't want somebody to get into a situation where they're just okay with their team being terrible every year, and then they just trade picks away so they don't have to pay. They're just locking up a spot, and they're just like an auto win every year.
Well, actually, I take that back. What it like if
Somebody's got to pick
I'm
up
trading
that
the
fee.
pick to you, but you have to pay my fee for the year. So the money is still
That
the
is
same.
okay.
but you're paying my
That
fee.
I'm not
because I
opposed
gave
to.
you my first.
Yes.
See, now I don't know about that because then
That to me adds a whole new element.
yeah,
to
whoever's
it,
got the biggest pockets is gonna have a lot of
So the
traffic.
way that you would have to do that in order to prevent it from being like collusive is that there'd have to be an open auction, like inside the league.
Ooh,
You know, like my pick is up. I'm looking to sell this first round pick or whatever, and it goes to the highest bidder.
Interesting.
I
guess there's ways
and
you
the
could do
bidding
it.
starts at the entry fee.
Yeah. Oh, well, you can start it whatever you want to start it
You
at.
should
I
start it at the
suppose.
entry fee.
But if that's your goal, I would.
Well,
imagine.
the pot.
But
should
yeah,
be the same.
that would get crazy. I imagine in the league, especially the league that I'm in right now, where there's a rollover pot, that would get crazy because there'd be like someone would think that they just won this
gotta
year
win,
and their team's
yeah.
gonna be even better next year, and they're gonna be like, I'm just gonna buy his pick and his pick, and I wonder how that would work out. That'd be super interesting. So
Always fun ways to do everything.
to lead off the Homer minute, go Cowboys.
I was gonna say our homer minutes are kind of moot at this point. We went over them last week,
Yeah.
so but
You guys are still in the same spot.
let me start by asking you a question. Like the Dallas defense, how healthy is it? And because I know towards the end of the season, you guys lost a few players. And were having some issues.
What actually happened was, I think if Leighton Vander Esch, if it had been the playoffs, the last 3 weeks, like Vander Esch probably would have suited up in those 3 weeks. But because of the position that we were in, where we weren't fighting off somebody for the division lead, it was more like we might win the division, but it's really unlikely. We really need Philadelphia to keep slipping up. I think that was why they were willing to sit him. They looked fantastic.
Okay. And they did. But the big question is this week. You know what I mean? What have you done for me lately? So now you've got Brock Purdy. Mm-hmm. This
So what the
Mr. Irrelevant.
Here's the
last
thing
pick
is,
of the draft.
So the 49ers do not have a better offensive line than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Okay.
Trent Williams is an all-world talent. Like he's like the only offensive lineman in the league that sells jerseys. Like,
That's funny.
And I saw when I was at the Bucks game, the 49ers Bucks game, there were a bunch of people walking around in Trent Williams jerseys. He's a real popular dude. Good player, really good player.
Oh, so you did go to that game?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's cool.
Minus him though, the rest of that offensive line is very average. And the Cowboys, so I think that's where the Cowboys can win, is their defensive line versus the 49ers offensive line. Mm-hmm. And now here's the thing is like Brock Purdy has been playing out of his mind, but what he still does is there's still a couple of chances that he gives up every game. A couple of plays that he makes, there's like, oops, shouldn't have thrown that.
The first half last week
100%
was like, ooh.
He started like
I was starting to
5.
feel right. I was like, I was right about this guy.
He was the first 2 drives,
Yeah.
he was like 1 for 5, and he got lucky that he didn't turn the ball over twice.
Very
There were
yes.
2 different plays where Seahawks linebackers just kind of drifted into the path of where he was throwing the ball because he just didn't read them right. If he does that against the Cowboys, he'll turn the ball over.
That's what I'm thinking.
The Cowboys are the number 1 defense in the league in creating turnovers. Not only that, these are the best 2 defenses in the league, the Cowboys and the 49ers. And the Cowboys are as healthy as they've been all year long.
And that's that's the big question I wanted to get from you. It's like, how healthy are they right now? I haven't, the Cowboys defense isn't necessarily something I'm always paying attention to. So I'm like, okay.
Isn't it interesting that that's what we're focused on? That's the big focus.
It is the big focus
It is the big
because
focus.
because
that juggernaut
that San
49ers,
Francisco offense does have to go through Brock Purdy right now. Obviously, all the weapons around him are amazing. Like they've got amazing weapons all over the field. But Brock Purdy, as good as he's been playing in these weak matchups, this is a big one for him. Like now it's playoff time against a playoff defense, and if he's going to slip up, like this is the time I'm thinking.
Yeah, and we can talk a lot about that when we get to that game.
Yeah,
it's the last one on the slate, so it'll be a little while. The only other thing I'll say real quick is that it feels really good to have the Cowboys win a road playoff game, and the way that they won the game. Like, let's obviously we can talk about the kicker situation, what happened there.
Oh, we do.
But
need to
honestly,
talk about that.
so there's an interesting little factoid about that.
Okay, yeah,
Now,
please tell me.
So I don't want to don't take this as me giving him any kind of like slack, any kind of a pass or anything like that. But all year long, his placeholder has been using a white blade of grass to mark the spot. Like, Maher gives him the blade of grass and marks the spot where he wants him to place the ball.
Okay.
The officials made it a point in the game to not let them do that. Because someone had brought it to their attention, and there is a rule in the league because of a couple of years ago, the Eagles kicker, I can't remember his name, like Jake Elliott or something like that, was using a coin. And he was taking a coin onto the field every time he was making a kick, and his holder was placing the ball on top of the coin instead of on top of the grass. So they made a rule that you can't use any extra, what's the word I'm looking for? Inanimate objects or whatever to assist you in the kick. And the thing about that is he's picking the blade of grass up off of the field that he's playing on.
So it's not like he's bringing something out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a blade of grass on top of other blades of grass. Are you kidding me?
I mean, can you go and you just dig a little hole with your finger or something? Like,
and that's what I said. I think this week he's going to show up with like something on his finger and just draw a circle on the ground or something like that where you want to place the ball, and it'll be fine. But that, like, kickers are so meticulous. I couldn't, it didn't make sense how he kept, because it wasn't like he was kicking poorly. It was just, he was just barely off over and over and over and over again. And the kicks didn't look bad. It wasn't like he was just
and that's why I was looking for an explanation. I was like, something is weird here.
And when I heard that, I was like, that, as stupid as it is, as stupid as it may sound, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
It does make perfect sense, because kickers, the laces were in,
It reminds me of golf. Like, if you're putting, you know what I mean? If you're a putter and you always line up your ball, you've got a little arrow on your ball and you're always line it up for your putt. And then all of a sudden somebody told you can't do that.
Yeah.
That's going to F with you.
Yeah.
That's going to mess with your mind, and it's going to be harder for you to make those putts.
Exactly.
Which it shouldn't be,
and
but
so
it is.
And with the holder, it was like he normally all year long, he didn't even have to think, because he knew exactly where to put the ball. And so it was just a completely different interaction for them the whole game. And they were just slightly off.
That's crazy. That's funny. I'm very glad you told me that. I knew there had to be some kind of a story behind it.
And maybe that was it. Maybe it wasn't. But
maybe that just got in his head. Who knows?
But
that was definitely a piece of it.
Yeah, but it's definitely an explanation. Yeah. So I'm not, and like I said, I'm not going to give him a pass. But they brought in a kicker this week, and he outkicked him in practice.
Okay, so he is going to be the kicker this weekend.
So they're rolling with Brett, and I have the confidence in him. And actually, I have an interesting little prediction for the game once we get there.
Okay.
But right now, riding on cloud 9, because we went we took down Brady finally got the best of Brady, and they didn't just get it wasn't, they just snuck out with a win. They dominated that game.
Oh yeah, that was ridiculous.
It was awesome. It was fun to watch. And yeah, with that, you guys ready to talk about some more playoff football?
Yeah, man.
Before we get into it, I'd like to see how many times the Cowboys have covered this year. Hold on real quick.
Oh, how they're doing against the spread? Mm-hmm. Do you happen to know that off?
I don't. It's not something I pay attention to most of the time.
But you did make a comment earlier this year about how they're winning the games, they're dominating the games they're supposed to dominate.
Yes.
And they're not, they haven't been playing down, right? So let me see if I can find it quick.
And the only bad loss they have all year long is the Washington loss. You can,
what a weird one.
You can say maybe the Green Bay game, but that one still, Dak was still getting back into it looked like they were still having some miscommunication, and like they were still having some like early season issues because he had that big break from his broken thumb.
So the Cowboys do, it seems, if this is correct, according to ESPN.com, Cowboys have covered the spread the most, but I think this is
The most of any team this year?
I think ever. I think that was ever. Let me find something this year.
I saw 13-4.
Okay,
13-4 against the spread is pretty good.
They've been really good this year, and when Dak plays like he played on Monday, they're hard to beat.
Well, it's funny because it seems like it's been 2 different seasons for the Cowboys. You know what I mean?
I feel like it's been more than that.
Right.
To me,
The first half of the year, it was like, oh my God, that defense is unstoppable. They're freaking amazing.
Yeah.
They're winning even with Cooper Rush. They don't have to do anything. You know what I mean? Because this defense is just world class.
And
then the second half of the season, there were some injuries. And there were some big holes in that defense.
So the bigger thing isn't the injuries. The bigger thing is the fact that even though he missed 5 games, Dak Prescott managed to lead the league in interceptions.
So am I reading this route? Am I reading this right? Against the spread was -2.5 for the Bucks, and it was 31-14.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously you don't cover the spread if you lose.
Not if you're favored to win.
I guess you could still. Yeah, I guess you could still cover the spread. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. But 14 points it looks like against the Tennessee Titans, and they scored exactly 14 points over. So it looks like
Covering that spread is impressive. Like when you have a 2 touchdown spread, anytime you cover a 2 touchdown spread, that's a good job.
this isn't as detailed as I'd like to be, and I don't want to math it out right now. So
let's
we can
talk
move
about
on.
Chiefs and Jags. Yeah?
Yeah,
No?
let's do it.
Yeah.
Well, and speaking of near 2 touchdown spreads, do you happen to have the line on it? I think it was 9.5.
So-
If this
last I
thing is
saw.
if this thing is 10 or more, I'm taking the Jags to cover.
So Jacksonville versus the Chiefs. You got a +9 spread on the Jags, over under of 53. +370 if you're betting on the Jags, and -460 if you're betting on the Chiefs.
I think the Jags will cover that. I do. I don't like the Chiefs are that. So here's the thing about the Chiefs that I don't like. That's the reason I can't pick them to go to the Super Bowl
Yeah, I know what you're going to say, but I want to hear it.
is they just don't run away from
Yeah.
anybody. Like
That defense just isn't quite there.
yeah, they're not. They have too many lapses.
They let teams hang around in games.
They do.
That they shouldn't. That the other teams just shouldn't be in.
They almost lost to Houston.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's hard to forget that.
Yeah, and
And
they didn't have their number one game plan
And if
coming
Houston
out against Houston. But
and if
still.
Houston doesn't muff that punt,
Oh,
like
yeah.
there's a good chance that they win that game. Like because they would have had good field position, they'd have had the ball in their own 40 somewhere around there.
They would have found another way to lose. But
Hey, that's a mean thing to say on a day where they take the Chiefs to overtime, bro. Wow, how rude. They're not the Chargers.
right? Oh my God, what a collapse. So I guess we can talk about that for a second. Just to talk about last week because that
So,
was the one huge surprise from last week.
I rewatched that game because that was I loosely watched the first half when it was happening live because I was at a birthday party and we were leaving the birthday party. I was planning on going home to watch the game, but I look over and see that it's 24-0.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, well I guess we'll just go home and hang out with the kids and,
Yep.
and skip watching the game, whatever. And then I did not check back in until I got the message from like Ray, I think it was, saying like WTF or whatever. And I was like, and I just instantly was like, no way.
Yeah.
Open my ESPN app, see that they won 28-27. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. So I've got to rewatch this game. So I rewatched the game. And in rewatching the game,
You fast forwarded to the part.
No,
at least. No, you watched the whole
because I
thing.
wanted to see how it happened. I wanted like how it built up and man, absolutely everything went right for the Chargers. Everything.
the first half, yeah.
Everything went right, and they still found a way to lose that
Mm-hmm.
game. That is amazing. I don't know how you like. And then the only thing that they did afterwards was fire their offensive coordinator. And then the GM comes out and says that Brandon Staley's job was never in doubt. It's like like if I was a Chargers fan, I'd be livid.
Yeah.
Because it's like you obviously don't know what you're doing. You guys do not know what you're doing. That's crazy. That is like you're gonna blame the offensive coordinator.
I was gonna say if you're up 31, like or whatever it was.
Seriously, that is one of that is I just don't even understand what
their offense has sputtered all year. Like it's been
30
hasn't
points
been-
but it didn't.
It hasn't been what it
It
should be
didn't
all year.
last year though. Their offense wasn't sputtering last year. This year they had some injuries, and I thought their decision making was different. And that's not the offensive coordinator. The coordinator sends in the plays, and then the coach says yes or no. So
both years same OC. Okay.
to me this year was not on the offensive coordinator. I feel like he took the bullet for Brandon Staley.
They were definitely underperforming. Whose fault it is, very hard to say.
Okay,
from
so-
the outside, you know what I mean. But but for 2 years they have been
Okay,
underperforming.
you say that, and I feel like it wasn't very hard to say.
So
And here's why. We've watched the Chargers for a couple years under Brandon Staley, right? And leading into this year, he was just getting praised by fantasy football heads all over the place because of his willingness to go for it, his decision making, his gutsiness, his fantasy football friendly play calling, right?
Right.
Then they changed things up this year. They had, like I said, they had some injuries to Keenan Allen, to Mike Williams, and it was obvious that they had they changed their philosophy. And at some point, I remember they were playing Tennessee. They were playing Tennessee at home, and Tennessee is the worst pass defense in the league. Mm-hmm. They run the ball 40 times.
What are you doing?
And that's not the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that is the coach tells the offensive coordinator, hey, they have a conversation. They don't just you don't just get to the game and then the offensive coordinator sends in play after play after play after play, and the coach is just like, huh,
Weird.
huh.
Yeah, hard to say. I don't know how much, because, they only have so many seconds between plays, so I don't know how much actual interaction there is between the OC and the coach.
On game day, there's not a whole lot you can do to
Right.
change things. I
That's
agree
what I'm
with
saying.
that.
So it's
and
the OC
and
kinda
even
making
Peyton
things
Manning
happen.
said on the Manning cast on Monday that the biggest myth in football is halftime adjustments.
Right. It's only 15 minutes, people.
He said, I think he said something like, you go inside, you go to the bathroom, you eat a couple oranges, and then they say, let's go.
Exactly. There's no time for anything.
So on game day, no, I think you have a plan that you have agreed upon, though. It's not like the offensive coordinator shows up on Sunday with a plan he figured out himself the whole week, and the coach doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah. But against Tennessee, was the game plan, let's run the ball 40 times? Or do
It
you
seemed
think
that way.
Right,
There
right.
was-
But it might have been an OC
The thing that sticks in my
making
mind
a call.
was they were. The head coach has the ability to override that stuff all the time, and my whole thing is the offensive coordinator, he's not when you fire an offensive coordinator, that offense has to have been to me completely inept. Completely unable to perform,
Just underperforming.
and they underperformed, but the bigger thing was just their it seemed like it was a philosophical change, and I can't imagine that was it Joel Lombardi that's the offensive coordinator they fired. I can't imagine that he just decided all of a sudden I'm going to run this offense differently. The way we've been running it for the last couple of years. That had to have come from above him. So, and then when it fails, to throw him under the bus.
what a busy.
What a busy.
First of all, it's to me it's just sleazy. So I think less of Brandon Staley. And second of all, it's you really think your fans are buying that?
Yeah.
Because next year you're just going to fire Staley.
Right.
You know that. That's all you.
Depending on what happens. I mean,
Depending on what happens, what do you really expect to happen?
if they have another year like this,
they're going to bring in a new offensive coordinator, and then Like maybe they strike lightning and create fire and they roll next year offensively. Maybe. But if they don't, you really think they're going to fire the offensive coordinator again? No, they're going to say, well, he had a new offensive coordinator, so it takes time to get acclimated to the system and blah, 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 blah. But Brandon Staley's been here for 4 years, and he's made this decision and this decision and this decision, and they're going to fire him next year.
Yeah, if they don't take a step, if they don't win a playoff game next year, you're right.
All you did was kick the can down the road a year, and Sean Payton won't be available next year.
For how many draft picks? Like
one, probably. A first rounder.
Where do you think Sean Payton's going?
I don't know.
I would like with that roster. Absolutely, I would give up a first round draft pick to get Sean Payton in the building. You're kidding? Yeah, you got to be kidding me, right?
I'm not sure Sean Payton's worth that. I don't know.
If John Gruden,
you got to convince.
If John Gruden was,
he wasn't.
He won a Super Bowl
in Tampa. Yeah.
They trade you must not remember.
No,
this
I remember you.
They traded a first. Yeah. They traded a first round draft pick. He immediately won a Super Bowl.
And then they sucked after. I don't know. Man.
But Sean Payton's different than John Gruden. That's not going to happen. You know that he's going to do better. So that's what. And if you told your fan base, hey, we're going to trade a first round draft pick for this coach, and we're going to win a Super Bowl next year, we're in.
Oh well, sure, but like. You're telling me that Sean Payton is just head and shoulders just that much better than
every coach available?
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, and if he is,
every coach available right now, yes. Yes.
So Bezzy feels that Staley would be a great DC in Minnesota.
Yeah, just like he was in Philadelphia. He was a great defensive coordinator in Philadelphia. To me, what happened was he got gun shy, and right now he's just trying to hold on to his job. And I was and that's how the season ended, and I was surprised that he held on to his job.
Quick question:
disappointed for Chargers.
Did they have how many turnovers did they have
in that game?
Yeah.
Oh, I think they may have had one. It was the first time in NFL history that a team has won a playoff game while having a -4 or greater turnover margin.
Yeah. Crazy.
And we want to blame the offensive coordinator.
And you want to blame the offensive coordinator for that.
Well, but they should have put up more points. I mean, they had 4 more possessions than the other team.
Yeah.
They have this incredible. They should have put up more points than what they did. I'm not saying that it was all the OC's fault or anything else.
I don't think it was.
But they should have put up more points. They absolutely should have.
Well, at the end of the game, they had what? 30, 31?
And now hold on. This sounds like
30.
This sounds like I am advocating for Joel Lombardi. Like he deserved to keep his job. I'm not saying that either. Okay, they all should have went. How they have performed with the roster that the Chargers have right now, criminal.
And just to put a pin in it, I bet you that the owner had a conversation with Herbert and said, who are you comfortable with? You know what I mean? And I bet you this was, at least in part, Herbert's choice.
Maybe. That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me.
I'd put money on
He's
that.
a young man, and young men are naive.
We'll see what he says next year.
But to bring that around to the game that we're talking about right now, I believe that the Chargers have a better roster than the Chiefs do.
What? Oh, well,
a better roster than the Chiefs do.
That might be.
Please argue that.
No, that might be true because that's just one
that's
more argument
how good
for
Mahomes and Andy Reid.
Yeah, Mahomes is that good, and that's what it comes down to. So for this game,
and that's how important coaching is, because also you know who their defensive coordinator is. It's Steve Spagnuolo.
Okay.
He was the D coordinator for the Giants for both of those Super Bowl wins over Brady. He was a head coach for a short while.
Time, yeah. I remember hearing the name. I'm like, oh yeah.
They're lucky to have him. They're lucky that the Chiefs' defense kind of underperforms every year, according and he's not a hot commodity.
Well, they don't
because he should be. He's a good defensive coordinator. So
this game, I mean,
so the Jaguars just beat the Chargers, who I believe have a better roster than the Chiefs do, and I believe the Chiefs are going to smash the Jaguars this week.
I think so too.
The final score could be closer. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if the final score is like within two possessions, but I don't think the game itself is going to be that close.
I think the Chiefs are going to cover. Like if I'm putting my money on this game, I'm putting it on the Chiefs to cover the spread. I think Jacksonville had an amazing comeback last week.
Trevor Lawrence is awesome.
Yeah, dude, and he's going to be really good in the future.
Unflappable. That was
but-
awesome.
well,
because he could have easily like sank into his feelings and stuff about the way the stuff was going. Because it wasn't. There were some just unlucky plays.
He just had some good
know?
halftime adjustments.
Yeah.
So it looks like we're all going Chiefs on this game. Let us know in the comments who you guys think are going to win this one.
No, I think there are some ways that the Jags can win. And yes, we're all going Chiefs. I think that's that. But just to say, I think this could be a really good game. I think this is going to be a good fantasy game if you're putting some fantasy stuff on the line here. Like I said, Kansas City, that defense isn't great. And they have been they've been keeping things close. So maybe they can't cover. Maybe they only win by 7. Maybe
I think it's going to be close.
There's a lot of that.
I like this game to be like 37-27.
I'm saying 41-30. Like that's
Yeah.
what I think. You know what I mean? That's where I'm
I
looking
agree.
at.
I
Yeah.
agree.
I think it's going to be a high scoring game, but I really like the Jags have a 30% chance to win this game.
They have a puncher's chance.
Yeah,
for sure.
they really do.
For sure.
Like, do not count
Chiefs
them
make-
out.
like-
I love the Chiefs, but
You never know what can happen. That's why they play the game. Like a couple of turnovers. If like let's say the
Yes.
Chiefs, Mahomes turns back into playoff Mahomes,
oh wow,
and turns the ball over and chokes. Hey, they could win.
it's possible.
He
but,
but
I think Mahomes is going to.
Mahomes almost lost to Baker Mayfield a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
If you remember,
Yeah.
you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
That was a close one.
Almost
And
lost to Houston.
Trevor Lawrence and these Jacksonville Jaguars are better than that Cleveland team.
Yeah, I'd agree with that too.
They're much more dangerous than that Cleveland team.
Yeah, but they're going to lose.
Oh
right,
yeah,
so-
I agree. I agree, but I kind of want to root for him. You know,
And it's still going to be a really
like
fun
when
game
I'm
to watch.
watching.
I want to
I'm,
watch
I'm
this
picking
game.
the Chiefs, but I'm going to watch this game rooting for the Jaguars. You know what I mean? Like they're fun. They're a fun team to watch.
Just like that last game we're going to pick too, huh? You're going to pick one side and root for the other?
No, I probably won't.
We'll get there. All right, so game number 2. What do we got there, Ray?
So game number 2, Giants at the Eagles. Giants are plus 7.5. The over under is 48. If you're betting on the Giants, plus 290 is the money line. Minus 350 if you're betting on the Eagles.
Okay. And so basically the two bad games are on Saturday. Like these are the two games. The Eagles should roll
agreed.
and Kansas City should roll. But these are two good. I think these are going to be two fun games to
think so,
watch.
too.
I really do.
I agree.
I don't think they're going to be complete blowouts. I think the Giants, especially for the first half, they're going to keep this game really close. You know what I mean? I think that things are going to eventually start rolling the Eagles' way, and I think they're eventually going to win by double digits.
I don't think so.
I think it's going to be close until that time, just because these teams know each other so well. But
Dude,
I think talent's going to win out, and all the talent is on the Philly side.
I don't think all the talent is on the Philly side.
What position are the on offense are the Giants more talented?
Quarterback.
I'm glad I wasn't taking that drink because I might have just did a spit take there.
To start
Daniel Jones is better than the what might have been the MVP of the league this year.
At the beginning of the year, no, but at the end of the year, yeah.
Wow.
Like I'm all about Daniel. I'm all about Daniel Jones right now. I'm a big fan. Like, honestly, I really am.
Wow.
Do I hear a bet?
I don't know. We might get to a bet, but
Who's got most receptions or passing
of
yards or something
all the
like
things that I said last week, the thing I was happiest about was the Daniel Jones. When I was like, I feel like Daniel Jones could have a really good game, and the Giants need him to play his best game, and he did.
Yeah,
and
he was in my DraftKings lineup. You know what I mean? I think I think things lined up for him really
the way
well
that-
last week.
and
I don't
here's the
think they
thing-
do this week.
Here's the thing about how he's playing. To me, the reason I think, like, the Giants have a worse offensive line, they have a worse defensive line, they have a worse secondary, they have a worse receiving core. All of these things are true. They have a better quarterback and they have a better running back. And like, and now that could just be because Jalen Hurts is hurt. Jalen Hurts is not 100%. And if he plays like he played in Week 18, the Giants have a really good chance to win this game.
Right, but in Week 18, they kind of needed to play. Not
No,
really. It was
they
more of a
really wanted
warm-up
to win.
game.
No,
they wanted to, but
they needed to win. In order to get that bye, they needed to win. They
totally
couldn't
agree.
lose.
So Bezzy wants to change his picks to Eagles versus Cowboys. No, never mind. That's an NFC conference game. I read that wrong. Okay, he thinks Cowboys and Eagles is going to be the deciding two
Yeah.
teams.
Spoiler alert: he
and
likes the Cowboys.
And I do too. I'm trying again.
You pick the
I'm
Niners.
trying to pick. No. I'm trying to pick the Giants over the Eagles here. Like I want to, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
I was just about to start talking up Barkley. You know,
But
I was like, look how much better Barkley
and
is. than
Saquon Barkley
Sanders,
is
man.
he's another X factor.
Yeah.
Like Saquon Barkley is the best player in the game. So like that's the thing is the Eagles are better
He probably is the best
in all
offensive weapon in the game.
these different areas, but the actual best player in the game plays for the Giants because it's Saquon Barkley. And after him, it might be Thibodeau. Like I don't know if you watched him play, but that defensive end that they picked up this
Yeah.
year, oh man, he's something else. He's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah, no, and we're talking offensive players.
And
but
honestly, their their defensive line isn't as deep as the Eagles' defensive line, but their starting defensive line matches up favorably, I think, against the Eagles' offensive line because they've been a little beat up towards the end of the year.
So what's the spread on this game?
Probably like 10, 11 points. It's got to be the biggest spread of the week, right?
The Giants and Eagles 7.5. No, yeah, 7.5.
That's
Yeah,
low.
no, so
The biggest
Jacksonville
one
one's
is
bigger.
Chiefs and Jags.
Yeah.
That's the biggest spread.
That's low. See?
Yeah, no, and like I said, it's a divisional game, and I think that makes a huge
And
difference
the
here.
Giants are pissed off.
And you look at the two games last week that were supposed to be blowouts; they were divisional games, and look how close they were.
Well, the 49ers game was not close.
Oh, I was talking the other two. I was talking.
Oh, you're talking about there was 3 division games last
Oh,
week.
right. I was Buffalo, Miami, and Baltimore and Cincinnati.
It was funny because
Like, those should have been
So there was.
blowouts.
I got to bring this up real quick because like fantasy heads are funny to me sometimes. They're someone posed the question which concerned you, which playoff performance concerned you more, the Buffalo performance against Miami or the Cincinnati performance against Baltimore, and they gave Cincinnati a pass because it was a divisional game. and the conversation went
Awesome.
on. The conversation went on for minutes, and
and nobody noticed.
and no one ever was like, you know what, Miami and Buffalo are in the same division too.
Right? Hello.
Sillies.
Yeah, but no, the AFC. But the actual good argument is that the AFC North teams play each other very, very tough. They always do, and the NFC East is also like that. The NFC East and the AFC North are very similar that way, where when divisional opponents get together, you really can throw out the record. You don't know what's going to happen because the teams hate each other and they know each other really well, and they just play tough football.
Yep. Yeah, there's more X factors involved because they know each other so well.
Yes,
Yeah.
agreed. And so, like, if we're throwing out like X factors in this game, like, and that's where the Eagles win.
Yes.
To me, is like, because I don't think that Jalen Hurts is going to dramatically outplay Daniel Jones in this game. I don't think that's going to happen.
I think that Eagles defense is going to be a bit of a surprise for Daniel Jones. I think he's going to come down to
think
earth.
so,
I
man.
don't think he's going to be awful. I don't think he's going to be last year Daniel Jones or
He's
2
been
years
really
ago Daniel
good.
Jones.
He's been really
but
solid with the football. Like, I've been impressed.
he'll
with
be
how,
decent, but I don't think he's going to be good enough to win.
I think
He's
he'll
gonna
play
be-
a tight game. I think the reason the Eagles are going to win this game is because I don't think the Giants can cover Dallas Goedert.
Okay.
Like TJ Hawkinson just fucking blew the doors off of them
Yeah, he
in
did.
two games. Like, they could not stop him.
I love TJ so much for next year.
Yeah, me too. I agree. But Dallas Goedert might be a better football player.
Well, the funny thing on my dynasty team, I now have Hawkinson and Goddard,
That's a good spot to be in.
and I'm just like, what do I do?
Sell
Which one
Goddard.
do I trade away? And,
Actually,
and the answer
well,
is going to be whoever I can get the most for.
Hawkinson probably.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Especially right now that fire's got
Yeah,
to be so
I'm
hot for
definitely
Hawkinson.
gonna be doing it
Like,
during the
I'd be trying to sell
off-season,
him right now. Yeah.
So you got? Are you going Eagles?
Yes.
I think we're all picking the Eagles.
Oh, I thought you said you were going.
I
Giants.
want to
He-
pick
he
the
was
Giants.
trying to,
I want to, but that would just be me, like, wanting the Cowboys to have
rooting with his heart. Yeah.
wanting the Cowboys to have a home NFC Championship game, because it's possible. It is still possible.
It is possible.
that the Cowboys host the NFC Championship game.
All right, moving on to the Sunday games, which are
The
the
good games.
two exciting games.
good
like,
games.
oh my goodness, let's
The
go.
hardest
Let's go.
games to pick of the year.
So we got Bengals at the Bills.
Honestly, these are Super Bowls. Like,
Yes.
right, these two games to me, like, these are Super Bowl.
These are
caliber
4
games.
Super Bowl caliber teams.
Yeah.
Well, they just It's Bengals are plus 5.5. The over under is 48.5. You're betting on the money line. Plus 205 on the Bengals. Minus 245 for the Bills.
Seriously, you could eliminate the 4 teams from Saturday, and we could just talk about these 4 teams and any of the, like, if we were on Championship Sunday, and any of the combinations of the Super Bowl would just be awesome.
Yeah,
Any of them.
yeah. And honestly, you throw the Chiefs and the Eagles into that mix of that 6 teams, and you're just like, wow, this is fun. Like,
But you don't have to throw the
You can
Chiefs
play
and Eagles in
a
there.
season with those 6 teams and just be like having fun, because that's some good football right there.
Yes, they're very, very good.
All
going
right,
Bills.
so Buffalo Bengals.
I'm going Bills.
So to go back to that question that I made fun of,
Which one?
about the guys not knowing about the division
Oh,
rivals.
right.
The Bills actually, their performance worried me a lot more, because they were playing against a third string quarterback, and their defense actually played well in the game. Josh Allen was the problem.
Yep.
Josh Allen turning the ball over was the problem.
Is it going to be a problem 2 weeks in a row?
And I said that it's been a problem several weeks. He led the league in turnovers. Dak led the league in interceptions, but Josh Allen led the league in turnovers.
Well, okay. I know he's in the top, but I didn't think he was
It was
actually the
21
actual
total
leader,
turnovers
but-
or
okay.
something like that. And Joe Burrow is not going to do that. Joe Burrow is not going to turn the ball over
Maybe.
like that.
He's just going to keep getting sacked.
Well, here's the thing: is that exactly because Cincinnati has lost 2 of their starting linemen in the last 2 weeks, and so Buffalo is going to be all over his ass. He's going to have very little time to throw. So and that's what Burrow did last year. So I mean, I will say that that was Burrow of last year.
Buffalo is hurting in the secondary.
Okay.
They've had
See
safety
ya.
problems all year long.
See ya.
They're really thin.
I guess they are missing a safety.
They're really thin. I'm not talking. He was a backup.
Bad joke. Sorry.
He was a backup.
I know.
See ya.
So like he wasn't even supposed to be playing.
Yeah.
Poor bastard.
Yeah.
Hope he's doing well.
Yep.
But I don't think that Joe Burrow is as loose with the ball as Josh Allen is. And the thing is, right now that's hurting Josh. Like, I believe is he's trying to do things that he knows he can do, and he can't do them right now because his elbow is not 100%.
See ya.
And yeah, I mean, and
That's what it looks like
There's
to
been a definite difference since that injury, and so it feels like he's kind of like returning to form. But you're right, he's not what he was.
And Stephon Diggs has been not good since that happened.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So has he healed? Is this the turning point? Has he gotten to that point?
it's not going to get better until the off season. He has to take time off.
Okay.
And that's why I said before we started the playoffs, started picking games and stuff like that. It was like that injury changed my Super Bowl pick.
Yeah. You definitely said that.
He's dramatic. Like, his play has been dramatically altered since that elbow injury, and that's why I'm picking the Bengals.
Okay.
You have to. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely taking the Bills here, and I will say that if it wasn't for the offensive line problems for Cincinnati, I think this would be a complete toss-up, and I don't know which way I would go. I'd be complete in the. I wouldn't know what
I
to
think
do.
to
But
me
now that offensive line, there's
that's enough injuries everywhere.
He's gonna be
because
running.
like you're also like an important thing to remember is like, sure, the offensive line is hurting right now, but the Bills didn't get Von Miller back.
Right.
So their pass rush isn't
What it was. Yeah.
isn't what it was.
But it doesn't need to be because they're, you know what I mean? Like, they're going to be able to get pressure.
I don't think it's gonna be that bad. And Joe Burrow won multiple playoff games last year while getting sacked 7+ times.
No, and that part I do agree with.
So
I brought that point up earlier. Is like he did this last year, so I am kind of iffy on that.
That to me, it's just this game, playoff games like this. It's beautiful. You know, it's the quarterbacks. It's about the quarterbacks. It's about which one of them is going to play better. And I just believe right now that Joe Burrow is going to outplay Josh Allen.
So we got a comment from, I think, a first-time viewer, Off-Grid.
Welcome.
Pheno Hunt, thinking
Hey.
the Bills, or most are thinking Bills, but he thinks the Bengals are going to win.
I do too.
Looks like that Ken's going Bengals. Me and Brian are going to go Bills. Let us know in the comments.
And I am going to take another one of my shots right now.
Wow.
Let's wipe off that Lazard shot.
You got it.
And let us know in the comments who you think is going to win. Bezzy feels that Cincy had a worse O-line last year, and they still made it into the Super Bowl. So he's taking Cincy. He's with Ken on this one.
Yeah, that was a fluky run last year. Fluky run's not going to happen again.
And I'll go ahead and put here in a
You calling Joe Burrow a fluke?
I'm going to put a
No, I'm
notation here that Off-Grid is going Cincy. In case Off-Grid tunes in next week, we can
See how he did,
see
or
what
they
we
did.
All right. So next up, the last game, Cowboys at 49ers. Cowboys are +4. The over/under at 46. If you're betting the money line on the Cowboys, +165 on the Niners, -195.
Playoff football doesn't get any better than this.
Yes, this is the game.
Like Cowboys versus 49ers is as classic as it gets.
And to have that as the last game, and as probably the closest game, I think. To me, this is the hardest game to pick out of the bunch.
To me, the winner, the winner of this game wins the Super Bowl.
I'm not going to go that far. I think the AFC is the class here.
I
but
don't think so.
Yeah, I do.
I don't know why you like the AFC. So the only reason to think that is because the AFC has Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and Patrick Mahomes. The better teams are in the NFC. The more complete teams, you just remove the heads of the teams, remove the quarterbacks from the conversations, and you just compare the meat and potatoes of each team. The Cowboys, the Eagles, and the 49ers are the three best teams.
But quarterbacks matter.
Quarterbacks do matter. They do matter. They do matter.
Matter a lot.
Yes, they do.
But they don't. But maybe these guys just haven't reached their,
Well, and let me just throw something out
pinnacle.
there. Is a very plausible thing is Kansas City versus San Francisco in the Super Bowl. A lot of people are picking that.
Rematch.
You actually have the exact opposites in those two teams. Whereas you have Brock Purdy, the last pick in the draft as the quarterback, with
Joe Burrow, the first pick in the
amazing
draft.
weapons all around, like the best weapons in the league around him. And then on the other side,
Joe Burrow
you've
has
got-
some terrible weapons.
You've got the best quarterback in the league with, pretty
Go ahead.
suspect weapons, except
Really?
for Kelsey.
Really?
We keep going over this, and I just don't know how you argue with me on this one. Like, Kelsey is Kelsey. I agree there. But past Kelsey, he's got nothing.
Yeah, I just caught a buzz. I'm feeling good right now.
Give him another shot, folks.
Maybe a little bit later. Keep holding on to it. I have some Strongbow in there, which is one of the drinks of Patrick Stewart. So if you guys, I don't know if you've ever
That's
had
awesome.
Strongbow.
I have not. I don't think.
There's exactly 3 in there. Cool.
Oh, might try that. out.
Yeah, it's the gold bottle. It's a gold
So-
bottle.
Okay.
I think the turn. This is the game where the turnover battle is going to matter the most.
Okay.
And so whichever quarterback turns the ball over more in this game is going to lose.
Well, and that's got to worry you since Dak's been turning the ball over pretty
He
regularly.
has been, and this is a beautiful time to bring up one of my favorite plays from the game last Monday. Was a play, I believe it was 2nd and 10. They were at about midfield. Dak drops back. His first read's not there. His second read's not there. And rather than dance around in the pocket and throw the ball somewhere, which he's been doing way too much over the last several weeks, he stepped up and ran the ball and took a 2-yard gain. And when he did that, I looked over at my girlfriend and I said, we're not going to lose this game.
Right.
Because he's not going to turn the ball over today.
And that could be just a difference in mentality.
But that
Now
is
it's
it. That
playoff
is
time.
it. That's like if you. So the thing is like you go back to when the Cowboys were playing with Cooper Rush, and they were dominating people, just dominating people, and it wasn't like, but it wasn't that like they were beating people 40-10. They were beating them 24-10.
But
It's
it
just
seemed like it was 40-10 because of that defense.
and because the offense wasn't turning the ball over. So that was the thing is like every time like you weren't seeing highlights of defenses taking the ball away from the Cowboys and then where it's okay, obviously short field, and the next highlight is they scored a touchdown. It wasn't happening at all. Then Dak took over and a lot of that started to happen because Dak was more what's the word? He was more careless with the football.
I was like, more better?
Hey, Dak is a better player. Dak is a better player, but he was more careless with the football, and
Yes.
therefore we played worse football.
You had
some
more
spots.
turnovers, which
But
caused some losses that you wouldn't have had.
in the big games, and if you look at the most important games, the only one that we really lost was the Packers game. Like in terms of like, I think that was a game that they wanted to win. They might have been overlooking them a little bit because at the time the Packers were like 3-7 or something like that.
Right.
But anyway, if Dak can play more careful football, the Cowboys are a really, really, really hard team to beat. They just all he has to do is not turn the ball over. And after seeing what I saw last week against a good defense, and the Buccaneers are a good defense. They weren't a great defense without Shaq Barrett, but they were still a good defense. I'm excited for this weekend.
Well, you better be.
I'm very excited because the 49ers have a much worse secondary than the Buccaneers do. The Buccaneers have 3 Pro Bowlers in their secondary.
Okay, well, hold on a second, because I got to push back on that a little bit. Like, Tampa Bay, the whole thing about Tampa is you can't run on them, you have to pass on them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's been the case all year long.
Okay, so, but you couldn't, the reason their defense was so good is because you couldn't really do either. You weren't really successful at either. So, like in their defense, the Buccaneers secondary consists of Carlton Davis, Antoine Winfield Jr., and I always forget the last guy's name, but he might even be the best of the 3 pieces. I'm gonna have to look that up. But anyway, they have 3 pieces in their secondary that are lights out, Pro Bowl caliber players. The 49ers do not. The 49ers had Hufanga make the Pro Bowl. That's Palomalo Jr. And he makes some really good plays, but he also takes a lot of chances. And he's a rookie. So he makes mistakes. They make mistakes in the secondary. They have been covered a lot by the fact that they have all-world linebackers, and their defensive line is so freaking good. Like Nick Bosa might win Defensive Player of the Year. Like he probably should.
After last week?
Nick Bosa?
I'm sorry, wrong Bosa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wrong Bosa. Yeah.
Wrong Bosa.
No,
my
the other,
bad.
no,
I was
Nick,
like, wait a minute, Bosa. Oh.
no, Nick Bosa.
Yeah,
Nick
that-
Bosa has been awesome, just awesome. He's the player that scares me the most. Like if the Cowboys have a problem blocking Nick Bosa, they're gonna have a problem in this game. I don't think they will though. I think they'll be okay, and I think Dak's gonna carve him up.
Wow. So, I mean, are you predicting blowout here?
No, I'm not predicting a blowout.
Double-digit win? No.
No.
You think it's going to be a close game?
It's gonna be a
and
close game.
Cowboys going to edge it out?
It's gonna be a close game, and here's why the Cowboys are gonna win.
Why?
The Cowboys are going to block a Robbie Gould field goal,
Okay.
creating his first missed field goal in the postseason of his career.
Okay.
And then Brett Maher is going to kick a 50-plus yarder. Both of those things are going to happen on Sunday.
Oh, that's funny. That is a hilarious prediction. Kind of hope that's right, but I don't think so.
I had a buddy at work tell me, he's like, if you get that Dude, if the Cowboys block a kick this weekend, I'm gonna sign up for your podcast.
So we got Cowboys are on block a
The
kick.
Cowboys are gonna block a kick this weekend. They will block a kick.
What was your other prediction?
Brett Maher will kick a 50-plus yard field goal.
For the win.
I don't know if it's for the win, but he'll kick one.
Okay.
Like, it might just be like an end of half important
Right.
kick. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like, we could talk
So
about
an
it at the end.
important 50-plus yard
Yes.
field goal. Okay.
Well, all 50-plus yard field goals are important, but
Well, except when you're up by 30, but you know.
you ain't kicking one then.
Why not?
Why not?
You're up 30. Who cares?
Well, because then you put yourself in a position like the Eagles where you give, the other team a bunch of bulletin material for the week leading up to playing you. I guess the Giants are pissed off about how they ran up the score in the first match.
Oh, whatever. Like, do you think that's a bit like I just don't see that as anything. You know what I mean?
I do.
that's locker room fodder. Blah blah blah. They're gonna put that up on the bulletin board.
So
I just think that's BS.
So in 2007, going into the divisional playoff game, Jerry Jones went and sat tickets to the NFC Championship game on all of his players' locker, like all their seats in their lockers.
Block a kick or block a field goal, or either or.
Field goal.
Field goal.
I'm gonna. I want to be clear. I'll say field goal. Like, I will claim credit if it's only a punt, but I'm gonna say field goal because I want Robbie Gould to miss his first field goal against the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jerry Jones put these tickets for the NFC Championship game, so obviously assume like this is like, hey, you're gonna win today, and the Giants found out about it before the game started. And the reason I'm telling you this is because this is from the mouth of this was from like Strahan or somebody like that. It fired them up.
That's crazy. Now, I've played football. Obviously,
I heard that's right. I
no
was
big
pissed.
level or anything like that. Just in high school, and I remember my coach using.
It's an
some
emotional
locker
game,
rooms.
dude. I'm not saying it all works.
Maybe
I'm not saying it all works,
Yeah.
and everybody is different. What triggers you emotionally is like person to person is different. But like when going into a battle, like you just don't give your opponent any extra anything.
Yeah, and I get that, but I don't know if that is, in my opinion. But you know what I'm saying? I'm just like,
Because
I just the bulletin board stuff. I don't know. I don't see that.
That's you.
Yeah, no, I agree.
That's
And
you.
maybe that's just a thing
And
for
there's
me that I'm
plenty of
not that
stuff
emotional when it comes to that
think
stuff.
think about it like this for 1 second. It's like, have you never seen anybody get pissed off about something where you were just like, why is that guy even mad?
Well, sure. I mean,
Sure. Where you couldn't understand why he was upset about something. I think this is just one of those things. Like, it's just another mindset. It's like that's why we don't play professional football, because we don't get fired up over stuff like that. We don't hear things like that and go, I need to throw that guy through the fucking wall.
but that's the thing. The games that I play, that you know what I mean. I prefer to have a mad opponent. You know what I mean. People that are mad or
not in football.
emotional, angry.
Not in football.
But they make poor decisions.
Sometimes, but in football, it's like football is not.
Maybe you can make up for it with aggression.
Okay,
but
in football, the only person I believe you can make mad and actually bring down their performance is the fucking quarterback. Anybody else you piss off, God help you.
I don't know. I mean, that's saying that football is very. I mean, obviously it's a hugely physical game, but you're taking away some of the cerebral parts of the game to me.
It's not that cerebral, dude.
No,
You
don't have those
You really think
decisions,
that, like,
those key moments, those
the
key
quarterback
decisions,
does. The quarterback does. The rest of the skill position players, they're on instinct all the time. All the time. They're not like most of the time they're not thinking. Like, their thought process comes before being in the game, and like you have to practice it. Like, you gotta, like, if you want to train yourself to do something in the game differently, you need to practice that on Thursday,
Right.
on Friday. Because when it comes to game time, you're not gonna think. There's no thinking. You just do.
I'd be curious if that's true for the best, but But maybe that's just a fact of life that I'm not aware of. I don't know. Curious.
So we all going Niners except Ken?
I'm gonna go Niners. I am.
I'm not.
I think this is a very close one. This is the hard one for me to pick.
The Cowboys weren't supposed to get here. It was supposed to be easy for me to pick the 49ers all the way to the Super Bowl. The Cowboys were supposed to be the Cowboys, of the last 30 years and lose to Tom Brady inexplicably. But instead, they went out and they dominated that game.
Yeah, but Tampa Bay was a bad team.
They weren't a bad team.
They were a pretty bad
team. No. Like okay. The Seahawks team
as a playoff team.
Hold on.
They were bad.
The Seahawks team that the Cowboys beat in the wild card round in 2018, that was a bad team. The Lions team that the Cowboys beat in 2014 in the wild card round, that was a bad team. The 2009 Eagles team that the Cowboys beat in the wild card round, that was a pretty bad team. The Cowboys beat them 2 weeks in a row. They beat them for the NFC East, de facto NFC East championship game in week 17, and then smashed them again in the wild card round. Those were bad teams. This Tampa Bay team was not a bad team. They were an underperforming team. They were underachieving team. They were not a bad team. That is not a fair thing to say.
They played badly for a good portion of the year.
They underachieved for a good portion of the year. I wouldn't say they played badly. They had a tough schedule.
There were some games there where they were just plain bad.
The only game for me that was like, I watched a lot of their games, and to me the thing that's someone said this at the end of the year, that the end of the season. The end of this season really reminded them of the end of the 2019 season for Brady. That was his last season in New England. And they made the playoffs, and then they bowed out in the wild card round. I think it was a wild card round. Maybe it was a divisional round to the Titans. And they got beat pretty good in that game. And that was not a good Patriots team comparatively, like, what we'd seen from them. But they were still a playoff team. They were a decent team with a Hall of Fame quarterback.
But they were a bad playoff team. And that's what I'm saying Tampa was. Tampa was a bad playoff team. They had a very low percentage chance of winning any games.
Dude, they were only, I believe the spread on that game was less than 3 points, right?
I think it was 3.5.
They were not a bad playoff team.
And the only reason why it was 3.5 was because the Dallas
I think
had a couple
basing,
of games
I think we're basing
coming
a lot
in
of that on their record.
Iffy.
But they were not to me they were not a.
I'm basing it on their play, brother. Like they did not have the offense they should have. They had zero running game.
They had zero running game. Their running game was non-existent.
Brady
that was the problem.
Brady threw a record number of pass attempts, but yet still
he also set a record for completions.
Okay, and how was his yardage and touchdowns?
4,500 plus yards still. The touchdowns was way down.
So even though, that's what I'm saying.
But
those are not good stats.
They did not. They were underperforming, but they weren't bad. They weren't like that. Like that's a different definition to me.
But I'm also saying bad for a playoff team.
I wouldn't even say they were bad for a playoff team.
They're a bad playoff team, brother.
Because the thing is I would have picked the Bucks to beat the Giants. I would have picked the Bucks to beat the Vikings.
I wouldn't have.
Yeah, I would have.
Yeah,
I would have. I would have.
And you went 6-0, so maybe you're right, but
I would have.
That's not where I would have gone.
But the thing is what I'm saying to you is I didn't like. Okay, even if the Bucks are a bad playoff team, the Cowboys beat them soundly.
And
soundly.
They did what they were supposed to do, and they did it impressively.
In a playoff game, though.
Yeah,
that doesn't. Those don't happen
on the road.
Like playoff blowouts don't happen a lot.
Okay, so we got a question from Bezzy over here.
All right.
Since Ken is picking the Cowboys, is he going to change the Super Bowl prediction? Before you answer that, he's locked in. I feel.
I picked the Cowboys. No, I picked the Cowboys in this game, and what I said like a couple minutes ago was that the Cowboys weren't supposed to get here.
Yeah,
I was like they were supposed to do what the Cowboys do over the last 30-ish years, and that is find a way to lose that game. to Tom Brady.
But you have to change your Super Bowl prediction.
I have to.
You has to.
Yes, I have to. I have to join Whatabeezy. And
But for the purpose of what we do, if we had something on the line here, Bezzy, which we didn't put anything on the line.
Yeah.
Right.
I would favor that Ken was still locked in for Frisco. Like
I would
he
too.
lost
yeah,
that bet.
and so and
For sure.
which is why
Yeah.
I basically can't lose here.
Pick both sides. Genius.
because if I pick, I'm picking my boys,
Yep.
and I can win this week. And if they lose, my Super Bowl team's still alive.
So we'll put an
Genius.
asterisk next
Yeah.
to his name.
Genius.
So you're thinking Cowboys now. You're thinking Cowboys Bengals.
Huh?
You're thinking Cowboys Bengals now.
Well, I'm riding my guys. Like after the way that they
Okay.
played last week, yeah, they would have to. It would be a huge disappointment for them to lose this game.
So
It
we'll
would.
we'll put an asterisk
Because
next to-
I feel confident that Dak Prescott is going to outplay Brock Purdy.
You better hope. If he doesn't, you guys are done.
Yeah, you're right.
Absolutely.
But this team, it just like the Cowboys now. They just feel a little different. The team feels different.
Last week
There's-
definitely felt different.
like, there's-
if they've
there's
got
just a
that Cowboy
different
team
vibe.
coming out,
Yeah.
you're right.
And immediately after the game, Micah Parsons is just like fuck what you're talking about. Let's go to let's get to Sunday.
And
Like,
Brock
he can't wait to. I cannot wait to see what he's gonna do tomorrow.
And Brock Purdy hasn't faced anybody like Parsons
Nope.
before. You know what I
Parsons
mean?
and Lawrence on the other side, and like the Cowboys have some dudes.
Yeah, I agree. Like this is a tough
the
game for
way
me to
that
pick
the
because
40
at
so-
the beginning I predicted that Purdy was going to run into a playoff defense that he was just going to have issues with and not be able
This
to
is
deal
the
with.
one.
And
Yeah.
I had this very well could be.
This is the one because Dan Quinn. So here's the thing, and we can talk about this for a little bit. Dan Quinn is the defensive coordinator for the Cowboys. Him and Kyle Shanahan both worked together for the Atlanta Falcons. He was the head coach, and Shanahan was his offensive coordinator. He knows him really well. I believe that there are going to be a couple of times where the Cowboys confuse Brock Purdy defensively. And it'll just be a matter of whether or not they take advantage and take the ball away when their opportunities come. And I think they will.
So should we move on to DraftKings?
We should, but I'll be right back. I'm going to the restroom.
Okay, yeah, we can get it started off here. Ray, have you managed?
Yeah, I actually
You
did.
put a little something together.
Yeah, I did put something together.
All right, you want me to go first?
Yeah,
or
you
are
can go
ready?
first.
Okay. All right, let me bring up the old DraftKings here. Okay. Now, I want to start off by saying that if you're going cash lineups with 4 teams, there's just high variances. It's going to be tough. I mean, basically what we're doing is setting cash lineups because we're just playing against each other here. But I recommend if you are playing DraftKings this weekend, you really should be playing tournaments. Because with four teams, just the variance is going to be so high in all the areas that tournament just seems to be a better spot where, if we're choosing from 13, 14 games, now you can really kind of get an advantage over the field by picking your cash picks. But with 4 teams, it's just so hard to get an advantage that I'm going tournaments this week. But anyway, so here's
Actually,
my lineup for us.
Before we get to the lineups, we do have a question.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Who's the coach of the year for you?
That's a good question.
Oh yeah, it's I forget his name, but the Giants head coach. I mean, it's hard, it's hard to go against him there. There's some other good candidates. Who else?
This is probably
Jackson, Doug Peterson.
This is probably the best
gotta
year
be
for
up
that
there.
question. Like this
Yeah.
is got like it's and Peter,
Mike Tomlin?
seriously, Peterson versus Dable. Like, okay, so here's what I think actually. It's Peterson versus Dable
Okay,
for the coach of the year.
yeah,
I think one of them is going to win this weekend. Like I know we picked against them, but it's very rare that you get your picks perfectly.
right.
It wouldn't surprise me if one of them won this weekend. That one will
And
win.
that's the one. Yeah, it's the coach of the year.
That will be the coach of the year. But let's say they both lose.
Now, who do you think?
I find it hard not to go with Peterson.
Yeah.
Because and the reason here's why.
Okay,
Here's
go
why.
ahead.
Schedule.
Okay.
In the NFC, like you look over and right now there are still 3 NFC East teams alive in the playoffs, and a lot of that is because of who they played this year. Because there were almost 4. They almost got all 4 NFC East teams
Right.
in the playoffs. The Commanders were 1 game off.
Yep.
And the reason is because they played the NFC North and the AFC South. So the AFC South has Jacksonville. So Jacksonville had to play all of these NFC East teams, and they had to come from at one point I think they were 3-7, and to make the playoffs. And after everything that was going on there, as bad as it was for him to come in, and the thing about the Giants is Brian Daboll is he's doing it with, I shouldn't say that he has better pieces and stuff, but Saquon Barkley is an awesome player.
Barkley is great.
And Daniel Jones is in his 4th year.
He's progressing.
He is to me. I don't believe there's a most improved player award in the NFL, but Daniel Jones deserves it.
I can see that.
If there is one, Daniel Jones deserves
definitely a
it.
candidate for it.
I killed him this year. I think back to that Panthers game, and I was so completely out on the idea of Daniel Jones being a starting NFL quarterback, and he won me over. He completely won me over.
Let me give you my argument against Doug Peterson real quick. My argument against him
He used to coach the Eagles.
is Urban Meyer.
That's a good one.
Urban Meyer.
That's an argument for.
No.
How is that an argument against him?
Because he gets to follow the worst coach in NFL freaking modern history.
But you still got to do something with it. You still got to do something with it.
He had all these pieces already.
No,
you know what I mean?
what
That were completely mishandled by the
No,
prior.
I disagree. No. The Jaguars this year.
Mm-hmm.
The only piece that Peterson is winning with right now, I feel like that Urban Meyer also had, was Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence, yeah.
Because Travis Etienne missed all of his rookie year.
Right.
Okay. And then the pieces that you're thinking of that are performing really well, they're all free agents.
No,
Evan Ingram, free agent.
No, I'm
Christian
saying-
Kirk, free agent. DJ
Trevor
Chark,
Lawrence
free
is more
agent.
than what I like.
Trevor and
Urban Meyer destroyed Trevor Lawrence,
which is why Doug Peterson deserves so much praise and why I think it's really hard not to give it to him. I really think it's going to come down to the way that these writers they vote. They're going to look at the schedule. They're going to look like the Giants went. If the Giants had gone 13-4, it'd be hard, and won a playoff game. It'd be hard not to give it to Daboll.
sure.
But they went 9-7-1,
Right.
with a really soft schedule.
Well, and a team that everybody thought they were going to get 4 wins.
And got the best possible playoff matchup that they could have gotten.
Right. I don't know. I get that.
So,
but
and you look at the other side, and it's everything was against the Jaguars. They had a rough schedule. They were picked to. They weren't supposed to win. The Jaguars were supposed to win less games than the Giants.
I don't remember
at the beginning of the year.
Was it?
Yeah.
I mean, they were within 1 game of each other.
Oh yeah, they were close.
I mean,
but
they were
the
both 5 or 6
but
wins.
the Jaguars were expected to win less.
Okay.
So,
right,
that's a great question, and that would be my pick.
Yep,
My pick.
okay.
My pick right now will be Doug Peterson.
And mine would be the Giants head coach. And I got to say that I think your take at the beginning that whoever wins this week, if one of them wins, that's the winner. And I completely agree with that. So, cool. Good question.
Great question.
Moving on to DraftKings.
Oh, that's right. We were setting that up. Okay. All right. So I kind of set up what we're talking about a little bit here. And, okay, here's my lineup. Patrick Mahomes, to me, is the quarterback that you want this weekend. Now, I mean, look at all the quality quarterbacks out there. So, I mean, that's tough to say. And you are paying up for Patrick Mahomes. But here's something about Pat is that he's going to spread that ball around, and there's going to be touchdowns and stuff going everywhere. And so I think he's going to be valuable to have as a piece. And then maybe with, Kelsey, spoiler alert, I have Kelsey as well, but Kelsey to go with him. But other than that, I don't think you need a lot of pieces of this offense. I think that it's all going to go through Patrick Mahomes, and that everything else is going to get kind of spread out. So I've got Mahomes to Kelsey, which is a very expensive stack. So I had to save up on some other positions here. So running back, we went with ETN. I think that if Jacksonville keeps the game close at all, I think that ETN is going to be a huge part of that. I've got Miles Sanders in against the Giants defense. I think it's a nice matchup, one of the better matchups left here in the playoffs. And
Sounds like you went pretty chalk at running back, buddy.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought, honestly, chalk to me is McCaffrey, but all right. So
The Cowboys are the #1 team against fantasy running backs.
yeah, but it's McCaffrey.
I know. I'm just saying.
I would have put McCaffrey in if I could afford him. All right. So wide receiver, again, I had to go kind of cheap here. So I went with Deebo Samuel as my #1 at 5,900.
That's a
Since
steal.
I'm going away, agreed. And because I'm going away from McCaffrey, I think that Deebo is going to be the big name in this game for San Francisco. So that's where I'm going there. Greg Davis, this time last year was the slate breaker. And Cincinnati, the defense tends to give up the long ball a little bit. So that is definitely right up Davis's alley. So I'm going to go ahead and see if Davis can repeat and have another fantastic divisional round game this year. And then Tyler Boyd on the other side. Buffalo, if they're open anywhere on defense, it's the middle of the field. And like I say, they're going to have to be getting the ball out quick in Cincinnati because they're missing those linemen. And I think Tyler Boyd across the middle is going to be a nice little check down pass for them all game long. And he's only 4,000, so he does it. I mean, for 12 points, he's easily paying off. And let's see, down to flex. I am going to go ahead and start 2 tight ends this week because I think Dallas Goedert at 4,500 is an absolute steal.
Almost took him.
Yeah, he's definitely a steal at that price. And then at the DST, I think there's plenty. There's 4 good choices this week, and I think Buffalo is the cheapest of them. And also, again, I keep harping on it, but Cincinnati, the offensive line being depleted, Buffalo, I think you can kind of pencil them in for a minimum of 4 sacks. So that's 4 points to start with, and they can go up from there. Is kind of how I see that. So there's my lineup. Next.
Me or you?
Now that you've heard the second place lineup,
Aw. He just placed me at third.
here's the last place lineup.
All right.
Now Ray's gonna get us with some oddball stuff this week. I know it.
All right, here we go. So,
You're gonna go.
Wait. Can I predict McKinnon is in your lineup?
yes.
Yes. Okay. I was like, I know he's got to be in there. I almost took him this week too.
You want me to go? You want to go?
Go ahead.
Okay, so Ken's gonna hit me for this one, but I'm going for Purdy because he was only 5,400.
That's true.
And it's like something you said earlier. Like you kind of want to go tournament style in these picks. So I went ahead and went with Purdy because this is possibly a high scoring game. And then I went with McKinnon for my running back, Mixon, 6,500. Mixon was only 6,500. Davis had a couple of good games. So I went with Davis for the Bills. I think, let me see here. I think his last game he scored 34 points. No, he scored 26 points. And I think typically in the playoffs you go with what's working. And so I think they're going to probably hit him up some more too. Jones, 4,700. If I was looking at Jones, he just had a 21-point game. And like I said, in the playoffs, you kind of go with what's working. Kirk, again, from Jacksonville. And then Kittle, tight end for San Francisco, the security blanket of Purdy, right? So I went ahead and went with him with my tight end. And then, go with McCaffrey, right? He's my
Ray.
my pick of.
So I really want Ray's team to do badly.
And then for defense, I went with Buffalo.
Yeah, if Bray wins, you're screwed.
Yeah. If Ray's DraftKings pops off, my Dallas Cowboys are done. All right. So I'm going to start the oldest quarterback remaining in the playoffs. That'd be Dak Prescott
Wow.
at 29 years old.
Wow.
Dak
Okay.
is the oldest quarterback.
That's a
remaining
hot stat. Right on.
Yeah,
I
right?
did not realize that. That's hilarious.
And honestly, like really, just based on the way he played last week, this is his time. This is his time, and he knows it. So, I think he's going to ball out.
Okay.
Dak at 6,100. At running back for $5,400, I'm going to pair him with Zeke, just because
Wow. That's ballsy.
Zeke did not score last week, and I think he'll score. I think he'll score. It's going to be
And just to throw, I mean, he's averaging like 2.7 a carry, and he's going against one of the best defense, or the best defense in the NFL. Ugh, that's
second
scary.
best
Sorry.
defense in the NFL.
Scary. Go ahead.
Second best defense. Well, you should feel good then, right? $5,200. I'm going to play Devin Singletary at my other running back.
Okay.
He's performed really well in games where Buffalo opponents have scored points.
Yes.
And the Bengals are going to do that. And to be clear, though, like he was just killing me on that Zeke pick. The running back picks this weekend suck.
Yeah. Past McCaffrey and Barkley,
But
then
but even
it's
then,
total toss-up.
because of who they're going against, they're not, and how much they cost.
Yep.
They're also not great picks. Like McCaffrey's probably the best one,
but
the most solid pick of the weekend. Probably.
But McCaffrey at 8,000 is kind of a bargain. He's usually in the 9,000 plus range.
Yeah. But but in order to pay you back, he still has to score 25-ish points.
Yes.
And that's gonna be hard to do.
Yeah.
All right. So at receiver, $7,800. I got Jamar Chase. $4,700. I got Zay Jones, and to pair with my old quarterback, I've got CeeDee Lamb at $7,300.
I looked at him, but I didn't.
CeeDee Lamb has been
He's been
awesome.
balling. Yeah, he's been balling the last,
awesome.
6 weeks?
I think I called him mini DeAndre Hopkins probably last year sometime while we were talking, and he's just gotten more and more and more and more like reminding me of DeAndre Hopkins. The catches that he makes are just...
The first half of the season, I was just like, man, CD's kind of a bust. He's not what he should be. And then the second half of the season, I've been, okay, he's figuring it out. You know what I mean? So
CD finished as like the wide receiver 5 or something like that.
I get it, but I'm talking eyeball test. I'm talking he's supposed to be one of the top 4 receivers in the league. You know what I mean? So
He is.
He wasn't looking like that. He was looking
He flashed it at times.
That's what I'm saying.
That was the thing.
First
Like-
half of the season, he was looking like
he didn't,
number 2 receiver.
But he also
It's
didn't have
like,
his quarterback.
Agreed. And so
Ever
he's
since Dak
really-
came back, and like and
There
the
were
thing
some
is-
rough weeks,
and
but
the thing is, and
he's been good.
that's the one thing about Dak taking more chances than Cooper Rush is that CeeDee
It
Lamb
pays off in fantasy wise.
Yes, CeeDee Lamb has gone off since Dak came back. That's still like the thing that irks me the most about this fantasy season is that I didn't trade Debo for CeeDee Lamb. That was that was the biggest mistake I made all year. CD at 7,300 at tight end. I talked about this earlier. I think Dallas Goedert is the best tight end of the weekend. I know Travis Kelce is still playing, but Dallas Goedert gets to play against the Giants, and the Giants have just been roasted by tight ends.
So is Jacksonville, by the way.
Not terribly, dude. I know they're ranked kind of low.
They're ranked 27th.
I
and
know
if you
they're-
start looking at some of those totals, it's
So
not pretty.
So we'll see what happens. But anyway, 4,500 Dallas Goedert. I think we can do it. Let's bet a shot on that.
Goddard versus Kelsey?
Goddard over Kelsey this week.
Oh, I love that bet. All right.
I thought he would. That's a good one. I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I can't lose that one.
I almost picked up Goddard because his price is low.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I feel like I can't lose that one because if I lose the bet and I take a shot, I feel like the Eagles lost that game. Like if Goddard doesn't outperform Travis Kelce, I feel like the Eagles don't win.
Wow. That's a strong take. That's a strong take there.
I feel like because if
mean-
he doesn't outperform Kelce, that means the Giants did their job. And
Philly has a lot of weapons, man. Like they've got AJ Brown on the outside. They've got They've got Smith on the outside.
I know
They've got
who they have.
Miles Sanders. I mean, like, whew, all right.
You almost said Miles Sanders as though it was like an impressive thing.
Dude, like, he is a good running back. Between the 20s, he is really good. You don't respect that kind of running back?
No, I don't.
Wow. Okay.
Not for fantasy.
Well, I mean, for fantasy.
A between the 20s running back who doesn't catch the ball? Yeah, sign me up in fantasy PPR.
Yeah, but fantasy PPR this year, he's like he's a solid number
He was
two.
number 2.
Yeah, he's a solid number 2
That's
running
what
back.
and that's what you want to do in DraftKings is start number 2 running backs?
For 5,700, I do.
I don't think you do.
I'll take that for
All right.
57.
So and then at Flex at $5,900, I've got Debo, because Debo is Debo.
Yep.
He's just awesome.
And if you're not taking
He
McCaffrey, you
scored
should
against
probably take
he
Debo.
scored against the Cowboys last year in the wild card game. I imagine he'll probably score again in this game. And then my DST is different than y'all's DST. I'm going to play the Chiefs.
Oh, wow. You could afford the Chiefs. Very
At
nice.
$3,100.
Yeah,
I'll
no,
play
if
the
I could
Chiefs.
afford them, I probably would have done that too.
So that's my lineup. I've got Dak, Zeke, Devin Singletary, Jamar Chase, Zay Jones, CeeDee Lamb, Dallas Goedert, Debo Samuel, and the Chiefs defense.
And I will say, for only 4 games, like, we have some very different lineups. I love it because like we'll have like 13 game slates,
And have, like,
you and
the-
I will
yeah.
have like 3 players different.
Yeah.
But here we've only got like 2 shared players, and there's only 4 games. It's hilarious. Love it, love it, love it.
That being said, everybody, we'll give you guys some opportunity here to ask your last minute questions.
Yeah, well, we sit here and drink for a minute.
We'll sit here and drink for a minute, talk
Right.
about Netflix, Hulu, Prime, whatever.
Yeah, and like any comments about the season, whatever you guys like. This has been kind of a crazy football season. Like, I mean,
It
I
has
guess you
been a
can say
crazy
that
football
about
season.
any
Oh,
season.
I have
but-
one thing I would like to talk about, actually. So
Yeah.
I had this
Throw it out
this epiphany kind of. So I've been very get off my lawn about the Monday night wild card game, right? Here's how I could come back from that. Dedicate it to MLK. Make sure that it always happens on MLK Day, and dedicate the wild card game to MLK.
You guys see that statue that got they got unveiled?
I did, Shaq's dick.
I was like, no matter what angle you look at that, he's
still
going
looks-
down on somebody or holding a giant.
Yeah,
Wait, what are we talking about?
you didn't see this?
No, what
I'll
was
bring it up.
what-
Bring it
what-
up.
It was an MLK statue, huh?
Yeah, they
I don't-
dedicated
Yeah, it is the worst.
they dedicated a MLK statue
It is the
in
worst,
Boston.
dude.
Wow.
Let's take a look at it. So I'll put it right here so everybody else who's watching can see it.
The top comment I saw was like, "It looks like Shaq's girlfriend holding his dong."
What a weird. And me and my wife were talking about this a little bit. I'm trying to find the picture like this. This is what they were trying to recreate right here. This one, right? They were trying to
Fail.
recreate that a little bit.
Failed.
Failed so hard.
Horrible fail.
And I was like, you know what? This reminds me of that attitude where they're like, "Are you sure you want to go with this?" And then somebody's like, "Fuck it, it's not gonna be me. It's not gonna be me who's gonna get the torch." So
It's gone too far.
arguing
I'm
about
not
it.
fixing it now.
I said my piece. Like, I'm just gonna let him do it. And there you have it. Okay, so we do have a question. Top 5 coaches this season.
Ooh.
Well, we already named 2.
Yep. And then number 3 be Mike McCarthy.
Okay.
Honestly, he's done such a great job, considering like they started the season with the Mike McCarthy watch. Like, oh, when's he gonna fuck up so we can start talking about Sean Payton?
That's true.
That we started the year with like, I said this as a Cowboys fan, like, if he doesn't make the NFC Championship game, he's probably fired. And right now, like, Sean Payton could have had a job already. He's waiting.
What's he waiting for?
He's waiting for the Dallas job.
You think so?
Absolutely. Are you kidding? Yes. That was supposed to be his job.
So if Dallas lost that last week, then
No, what I mean, like 15 years ago, it was supposed to be his job.
but I'm saying, like, if Dallas lost last week, like, do you think McCarthy gets fired and Hayden gets hired?
I think, yeah, absolutely. I think, absolutely. I think McCarthy gets fired, and at some point in the month of January.
How many years has McCarthy been around?
This is his third,
That's all? It seems like he's been forever.
and he's doing good. He's doing so good. He doesn't have a losing season yet.
That's hilarious because it sure feels like he has.
I
Like the way
know.
he's been roasted and torn apart. You know what I mean?
They missed the playoffs in 2020, but I think they went 9-7,
Yeah.
and then he went 12-5, and won the division, and then went 12-5. And won a playoff game, the first road playoff win for the
him.
franchise in 30
Fire him.
years. But that's still where we're at. We're still like, if he loses this game on this weekend, I don't know. He might get fired.
Sorry. Detroit Guns Mahoney. What's his real name?
Oh, you're talking about Dan Campbell?
Yes, Dan Campbell.
That's not-
definitely
yeah.
top 5
Top
coaches.
3. He's number 3.
Yeah,
Ooh, number 3. So
I would
Bezzy-
agree with that.
And then Robert Sala belongs
yes,
in there
for the Jets.
For the
yes.
Jets.
Oh, I agree with that too. And, then,
And
what
then-
about Miami? What's
And then
his
number
face?
5, no.
I like the Miami
I like him
coach,
too,
man.
but I like him too. But my style is I got to give it up for Lovie Smith getting that last win and screwing the Texans out of the number 1 pick.
He got fired on the way back to the locker room.
And it not so. The funny thing about that is, you know who has
wanted to say
the number
Lovie
1
Smith,
pick
too.
now, right?
Who? It's Chicago. Yeah.
His former team.
Yeah.
He's still looking out for Chicago.
Yeah, I saw the memes I saw this week were once a
Chicago
bear,
moment.
always a bear. Like,
No, that was just Lovey sticking it to the ownership, and I love it.
No, but number 5, that's a great one, is Mike McDaniel.
Yeah.
Over in Miami, because like I was not a believer at all. Like
Yeah.
the player that I criminally underowned this year was Tyreek Hill. I had Tyreek Hill I played 18 leagues and I had Tyreek Hill in zero of them.
Damn,
and I owned
18 leagues.
a lot of different players, in 18 leagues, and I had 0 of Tyreek Hill because I just so didn't believe in what was going on in Miami. So for them to make it to the playoffs, and after and to do it through starting 3 different quarterbacks, yeah, he deserves an honorable mention for sure.
Yep.
So Bezzy feels that it should be Dable.
Yep,
Giants.
Dables.
Uh-huh.
Sirianni, Shanahan, Peterson, and Taylor.
I don't like putting Sirianni up there. I don't know why. I don't. Something
Sirianni,
about he's the Eagles coach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because
Here's
the
the thing
teams
about-
that always the top teams like the KC, the Philly, you're just
Here's
like,
the
yeah,
thing
they're supposed to be there.
About the thing about the Nick Sirianni, for instance, is that to me that's like giving Matt LaFleur, coach of the year last year or the year before, because they went 13-4 in both of those seasons, and you probably could have, because he went all the way to the NFC Championship game in at least one of the years. But he did it with Mike McCarthy's roster. And you have a similar thing going on in Philadelphia, where it's like they changed coaches, but the roster was still mostly built by the previous regime, So he's winning with a bunch of guys that Doug Peterson drafted and coached, So I have, that's why. Like, Philly had a great season. They had a great season, but they didn't. There wasn't a whole lot of they had a soft schedule because they were in the NFC East. We talked about that already with Brian Daboll versus Doug Peterson. And they just didn't have a whole lot of controversy. There weren't a whole lot of situations where you're like, wow, Nick Sirianni did a really good job there. That was a really good decision, because he didn't have to make any decisions. They were up by 20 all the time.
Yeah, just everything was working.
And to me, that's not a coaching thing. Like, when you're up by 20 all the time, that's a talent thing.
You came into the year with a good game plan.
Yeah.
Have the best players.
And also and another thing is the Eagles did a really fluky thing this year. And sometimes that happens. Like the Eagles, they finished 14-3. Is that right? Yeah. And they set an NFL record for points scored in the second quarter this year.
Okay.
Yeah. It's random.
Yeah,
It's random, but it was ridiculous. They scored 140 points in the second quarter this year. And their opponent scored 7. That was what happened. Is they won all their games by that, and a lot of football games are like this, where there's back and forth, and you get to a stall point where the teams kind of punt back and forth, and the Eagles just didn't do that. Like their offense was just so consistent this year, like offensive coordinator of the year maybe, but
Fire him. Oh.
But they didn't have those lulls that other teams had, and they just put teams away really early. So that's my argument against him being the coach of the year.
So are you guys expecting a 3-year leap for Trevor Lawrence next year? Because if that happens, then Doug Peterson will get coach of the year next season.
He could win it back-to-back because he deserves it this year to me.
Peterson.
Yeah, Peterson deserves it this year to me. There was nobody. It's when I start to make that argument, there was nobody talking about the Jaguars. You could make that argument about the Giants too.
Yeah, they were both expected to suck, and
Yes.
they didn't.
Yeah,
So
they
that's
were.
why they're.
But the Giants finished third in their division, and the Jaguars won theirs.
I don't know if we should throw that out
but
there.
to me, to me, is the schedule.
Yeah.
It's just the schedule.
I can see that.
The Jaguars had a much more difficult schedule than the Giants did.
Right on. So any comments or any thoughts on the weekend coming
No,
up?
just
or-
that comment I had about Monday Night Football, about the wild card game, about because here's the thing: the reason it pisses me off is because I know that they're just stretching out the playoffs
Yes.
for an additional day so that they can get an audience. That shit irritates me.
They're just trying to make more money, bro.
I have a life. I have things I need to do. I have other things I want to do.
Which is
So
why when it was
I-
27-0, I shut off the game
Yeah,
and went to my
right.
friend's house to go
Yeah.
play D&D. And then I go and I look and it's the fourth quarter and it's like 30-10 or 30-20. And I was just like, wow, they made a comeback.
20 and 27.
But
27
it's still 30-20. It's a 10-point lead with 4 minutes to go. I don't need to turn it on. And then half an hour later, what the
Jaguars won.
what the?
Yeah, and that Cowboy Buccaneers game was a blowout.
Yeah,
So it was kind of a waste of a Monday night.
exactly. So you just
But
watch the first half hour and then
no, I'm a Cowboys fan. I watched
no.
the whole damn thing.
I watched the first
And
45 minutes to an hour.
but
and then played with my kids.
But you best believe, if it had been any of the other 6 games,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have watched it.
Yep.
So
And we're fans.
And we're fans.
We want to watch these games, but
So
yeah.
do something, NFL. Like seriously, do something about that. Like make us feel less like you're just torturing us, and make it mean something, And if it's going to happen on MLK Day every year, let's do that.
All right.
I like that holiday.
I think that's about it for all of us, right? I don't have any more comments or questions here.
All right. Yeah. We managed to stretch 4 games into 2 hours.
Yeah, that's
Not bad.
Good job, guys. You guys would be really good at writing college essays.
Yeah. I was
Only
practicing
getting
with my kid this week, 7th grade essay.
Never too soon.
All about dragons.
That's awesome.
Eastern, Western, modern. I loved it.
From Westeros.
Are you guys sticking around? Should we just leave everything rolling for a while?
I'm still
we got
drinking my beer.
we got a few minutes for sure. Yeah,
So what's
if you guys want to hang out and we're
You know what I just started watching?
and bullshit.
I just started watching because I don't have the Paramount Plus yet, but I think that's gonna be.
Oh,
something.
I need to hook you up with that.
So here's the thing, right? I'm trying to finish other things that I got going on, so I don't want to get hooked on a show that's going to distract me from other things. But I did start watching. Surprisingly, I was like, you know what? Let me give this a shot. I started watching Cyberpunk.
Okay.
Right, and I haven't watched an anime that's made me go back to it in a long time. Like I'll watch a couple episodes of an anime and then
forget about it for a month.
Yeah. But this one's got me watching like an episode a day, maybe even 2.
That's
It's pretty
cool.
good. Yeah. So it's a nice little wind down right before I go to bed. Let me watch an episode of this while things are still going down. It's got quite a few different things going on with that, based in the future. It's got that like blood spray that you could expect out of some of those MA type animes. And I don't know if you guys realize this, but Kill Bill, the first one, was kind of built around like a anime type environment where you cut a limb off and the like blood spraying everywhere.
Yeah, that was for sure his inspiration for that.
Yeah, that's a good way of saying it. Inspiration for it. It's got a lot of that. So it's got everything all wrapped into it. You know, it's got the relationships going on and whatnot, and then the struggle, whatever struggle they're doing. But yeah, so I did start watching that one.
And speaking of Paramount Plus, I just watched Tulsa King this week.
Oh, yeah, and that's what I was trying to watch.
Dude, I was really impressed with that. That was so much fun. It was great, dude.
Yes.
That was a great show. That was a lot of fun.
How good is Sylvester Stallone in that?
I was really impressed.
Right?
Yes, he was very, very good.
He's so good.
Very convincing as a mobster. Just everything about it. It felt like
Let me hold on one second. Watch what I think of when I like watching Sylvester Stallone in that show. I feel like he's been just severely undercast his whole life. You know what I mean?
Well, wasn't there
he's
something
really good?
Yeah, wasn't there something about like this is his baby? Like he always wanted to play a mobster, and so he kind of like chose this for himself because he wanted to play this role before he retired or anything. There's something about that. Somebody was telling me about that this week. I was like, really? I don't know. And just checking it out, I was like, this is really fun.
He's so
like
good.
I can't wait for
good,
season 2. Like this is great.
Well, I would expect him to get better, right?
Yeah.
Like anybody, you should get better at what you're doing.
Well, hold on. Like I'm 48 now, and I feel myself diminishing in some areas. like getting older and getting worse at something is a thing, man. Like
so him holding it together, and he's 75.
That's what I'm saying. 75 to hold it together like that and be that good.
Doing scenes where he's like running and stuff like that.
Dude, he's got great fight scenes.
Yes,
man. Yeah.
Have you seen it yet?
Not yet.
Oh,
no, it's not very much.
Man, yeah, it's fun.
That's okay. Yes.
Maybe you need to write it down for me, and I'll go log in.
Yeah, I'll let you log in.
But I do. What a busy's wanting to know if any of us have seen The Last of Us or played the game. I have not played the game.
It keeps popping up for me. I need to watch it because the guy who plays.
I just watched it.
You did?
You did?
I just watched it. Oh my god, it was so much fun. Yeah. No, that was really good. Like I said, it's an hour and a half pilot, so you only get so much. I've never played the game. I know nothing about the world or whatever that we're going into, so I don't know anything. And going into it, watching the hour and a half pilot, it was really good, really fun. Can't wait to watch that season. So,
Cool.
And it's the flagship for HBO right now. So, anything that's the flagship for HBO, is going to be a great show.
It's almost better to go into those things like that when you're not familiar with the source material.
Yeah,
it's almost advantageous to go.
I totally agree with that. Yeah, because if you're already in love with the source material and then they like, oh, they're fucking it up. You know what I mean? What you know what I mean? Whereas if you don't know what they're messing up, and you're like, oh, this is cool.
I think anytime you have a chance to do that, like you tackle something and then go back and go after the source material, it's like, oh, whoa, this is way better than what they're doing. Yeah. It seems to me to be more enjoyable to do it that way. So, and I've never played the game either. As a gamer, I've never played the game, but it's a standalone game from what I understand. And I got out of standalone gaming a long time ago. So there's that.
Wait, standalone gaming? What's that? What am I missing there?
That's when you just like play by yourself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's always kind of what I preferred, honestly.
I like him too. Still.
Yeah.
Actually, for a long time, I gotten out of it, but just like the environment that you always have to be in order to play those online games now, I got so tired of it. When I think of is like the queue when you're like waiting for like Call of Duty or something like that, and just the nonsense. Like
and they made it a lot of grinding too. Like, oh man, I need to log in every day to hit these dailies. I need to get 10,000.
That I don't like though.
I got to get 10,000 kills with this pistol.
Don't you try and make me play anything every day. Yeah. Don't you try and make me log in every day.
So
don't you? No.
So there's
unless you're paying me. Unless you were paying me.
That's the new business model, bro.
No, I know
that.
I know.
Yeah.
But unless you're like, but like that, my brain says No, fuck you.
Yeah, I'm with you, brother. I'm with you on that.
Like, I understand what a job
like
is.
it,
I
yeah.
understand what a job is. Okay, this is like you're turning your game into a job.
Yep.
It better pay me.
And yes, anything that has source material though, Would Busy, I think has a lot of potential to be notoriously bad, whether it's from a book or a comic book or whatever, a video game. Yeah, I do agree that it could have a lot of potential to be very bad.
Sorry, along those lines, did you guys watch Rings of Power?
No, I have not touched that yet.
I just watched it again like last week, and I was very impressed with it. Like because there's no, there's source material in that Middle Earth and kind of the history of it, but this isn't based on a book. You know what I mean? This is like taking that kind of in between history time where there hasn't been a story officially told, and like telling that story in that time. And to me, it's really been fun, you know what I mean? And kind of guessing on what's what. Like, it's not hardcore. It's definitely a little bit more, geared towards the general audience rather than the hardcore, Lord of the Rings fans or whatever. But overall, very well done, very fun, definitely worth a watch.
Okay.
I'd like to hear your guys'
Rings of Power.
opinions on that one, yeah.
Do you?
I'm gonna take this shot real quick.
Go for
Yeah,
it.
you owe
This
it.
is my last one.
You owe it.
Do you?
This is this one. I saved this one for last on purpose because this was the call that everybody got wrong this year. Like picking DJ Moore over Terry McLaurin was a very popular pick at the beginning of the
When
season.
you say everybody,
Fantasy heads.
everybody but
You in the middle of the season
just saying.
after DJ Moore had already had a couple of bomb games.
Everybody but the guy that was right. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Man,
So
if only you could monetize that. Here's my shot.
so the
Take your
rings.
shot.
The Rings of Power, do you feel like they may explore any of the Blue Wizard lore in that?
Ooh, okay, Blue Wizard lore.
Yeah.
What's the
So, okay.
I remember
what I
white,
understand-
I remember gray. I don't remember blue.
So what exactly, right? So from what I understand, Gandalf very, very briefly touches base on that there's 5 wizards. There's the white, the gray, the brown, and the 2 blues. And he basically doesn't know where they what happened to the blues. You know what I mean? And there's really nothing in the source material that really explains what happened to the blues.
You know what?
And-
That actually. So I'm going to tell you something from the series that isn't going to ruin anything for you, but it is a thing at this series, and that's there's this mystery wizard that you kind of assume is going to be the opposite of Sauron at some point. So Sauron is going to be the ultimate bad guy at some point in this series, and you know that this mystery wizard is going to be like the antagonist to Sauron, and they purposely never give him a name during the entire 8 episodes of the first season, and so I'm like, who is this guy? And if they name him Gandalf, I'm going to be pissed. You know what I mean? But I don't think they are. And I'm trying to think back to Lord of the Rings, to reading the books, and like, was there a wizard, antagonist, opposite Sauron during that time? I don't remember if there's any story about that. Because if there's not, then I'm curious why they didn't name that wizard. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's some kind of surprise coming, but I don't know.
Huh.
This is beyond my depth.
We've gotten too nerdy for Ken.
Yeah, like I wouldn't, too nerdy is probably
Yeah.
not what I would say.
I was gonna say you used to.
It's just not in his purview of nerdom.
Yes, purview. It's outside my purview. There you go.
His is directed this way. Ours is having
Yeah,
to be directed that way.
yeah. Mine's Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I could start talking about Star Wars and you.
New Mandalorian coming up.
Well, no, that's
Oh,
not what I'm
yeah.
talking about. I could talk about the extended universe. And
Wait, I'm sorry. Did you watch Andor?
yeah.
Did you like it?
Wait, no, I haven't watched Andor yet. I have not seen Andor yet. Andor is with the same guy from Rogue One, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And-
I haven't
and
seen it. I
what-
love
what's
Rogue
your-
One. Rogue One was great.
Is that your favorite
really
Star
did
Wars
like
movie?
No.
Because that is my
You know
favorite
what my favorite Star Wars movie is?
That's
You're
my
not going to
favorite.
guess.
I don't. Return of the Jedi.
Nope.
What? Empire Strikes Back.
No.
Those are the
Hold on,
classics.
give me a shot at this. Huh?
Solo. Is it really? I was throwing that out there because it's been so ridiculed by critics.
I love it.
You know what I mean?
I love it.
And it's funny because I heard all the reviews about Solo before I watched it, and I was just like, "Oh man, that sucks. That this
bummed
isn't
you
gonna
out,
be very
right?
good." And then I watched it, and I'm like, "What are they talking
What's
about?
wrong with
This is
it?
good, you know what I mean? This is fun.
Yes, and especially when he meets Chewie.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? That is one of I don't care what you have to say, what the critics have to say about Solo. The 5 minutes where fucking Han meets Chewie is like the best 5 minutes in Star Wars.
Yes, that is a
period.
great
Like
scene.
it is so
That is a great
fucking
scene.
good because like it's just so good. It's just so good. They said because it was like the moment where Luke got tossed in to fight the what's that thing that
Oh,
Jabba
God.
keeps. I forget what they called it. The
Oh,
gargantuan.
the oh no, hold on. I know
what do they
this
call him? I forget what they call him.
one.
Anyway,
The Sarlacc pit monster thing.
but it was like that moment because they threw
still know
Han.
that.
They threw Han into this pit, and the Wookiee was supposed to just tear him apart. But he spoke fucking Wookiee. That's just fucking awesome.
Right.
Yes. So that was beautiful. That to me is like, because here's the thing is like, it makes absolutely zero fucking sense that Han's best friend was a Wookiee. Right? Mm-hmm. Wookiees don't like people.
Right.
Like they don't make friends with people, really. The only friendly interaction you see from a Wookiee in the entire Star Wars universe is fucking like when they don't kill Yoda. but yeah, so like you wonder the whole time. You wonder why, like how, like why does Han have this Wookiee that just works for him? You know, why is and not just works for him, but like obviously like
Loves him.
You know, like when he got out of the ice, like when he got unfrozen, the first like it was Chewie that was
Yeah.
holding him,
Yep.
you know, and Chewie petting him.
Yep.
So to have that moment, beautiful, and the movie was fun. It was exactly
It was.
exactly the person you assumed that Han Solo was before he fucking got linked up with with Luke.
I thought it was fun. I thought
I
it was a really good
loved it. I loved that movie.
So Bezzy has some questions, but before I get to his questions, one of the things, and watching Solo with like a like touched mind, it wasn't influenced by anybody. One of the things I really appreciated about that movie was when he shot Woody Harrelson. It was like it just ended the debate. Like, yes. Han can shoot.
Yes.
Han can shoot. He can shoot first. It's in his character to do it. Like they just totally like took that out. You know,
I mean, Han did shoot first.
Han
Come on
shot
now.
first.
Yeah.
Han shot first.
Yes,
Okay.
that's undebatable.
So, what a busy wants to know.
Wait, sorry, just real quick. May the 4th. Do you guys like do anything for May the 4th?
Sometimes,
Other than text my friends silly things, no, not really. But we
Sometimes.
should watch.
I take the
some Star
day
Wars.
off. I take the kids out of school, and we watch
Wow.
freaking Star Wars all day long.
Such a good dad.
It's a tradition, and I freaking love it.
That's awesome.
But,
And
yeah,
you know
it
what?
is.
Oh, dude, that's awesome. So, on that note, me and my son just, I believe, watched the first thing that we've ever watched together this week, where it was like he watched it because he wanted to watch it, and I watched it because I wanted to watch it. And we were watching the Clone Wars.
okay,
Oh, nice.
And yeah, so I put the Clone Wars on, and I was
the animated show.
Uh-huh.
Oh, so that answers one of what it is.
and I was sitting there watching it, and my son just came up and just like he was looking up at the TV for a minute, and then I ask him every once in a while, I'll just ask him when he's like standing there watching something, whatever. Hey, you want to come sit with me? And he'll just back up and come sit, and he backed up and he sat on my lap, and we sat there and we watched a whole episode, and just he silent.
That's
Like,
awesome.
Yes. It was the best. It
That
was
is
like,
cool.
That was the best. I was like, oh my god, my son loves Star Wars too.
Yes.
Okay, so I do believe we are all planning on watching Mandalorian season 3.
Oh yeah.
Oh
wait.
yeah, I can't wait. Cannot wait.
Yeah, my
And-
kids are like, Wah!
Yeah, and it just got announced, right, for May.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Season
and then
3?
I have not started the Bad Batch. Have you guys started the Bad Batch yet?
Oh, the Bad Batch is great. And also, okay, so here's what I want to ask Wadabeezy, since he asked about the Bad Batch. Do you know about the Bad Batch in the extended universe?
Like it's actually part of the extended. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so fill us in a little bit on this.
So in the extended universe, Boba Fett gets patched up every once in a while by the doctor that generated all of the clones. And there are still some clones around. But they just like they're pirates now. And they don't no one ever sees them. Like you don't want to see them. Like they're not your friends. But he runs into them every once in a while and they have interactions.
Interesting. Okay.
It's very cool. So
Yeah.
so the fact that they actually did a Bad Batch show, is really really cool because yes, they do exist.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
And just fun fact, like the Bad Batch, I started watching it with the kids, and I was like, dude, this is pretty cool for an animation show. My kids, after 3 episodes, were like, I'm done. They didn't
they
like
do
it.
that sometimes.
They didn't like it. I was just like, what? This is fun. What are you doing? But yeah, I was really shocked.
No lightsabers.
Must be it.
No lightsabers. Nobody's using the Force.
Yeah, I mean that could be part of it too.
It is a lot,
Yeah.
which is why people don't like Solo and why and why they don't like Rogue One.
Yeah.
Because there's no Jedis,
Oh.
there's no lightsabers, nobody's using the Force. It's just a Star Wars story.
And May the 4th, we will be watching Rogue One. Every May the 4th, we watch Rogue One. That's my favorite.
If you're a fan of the lore, like if you're a fan of the universe and the story, and more than just, well, lightsabers are awesome, then yeah, it's really entertaining.
I find that the Star Wars universe is pretty incredible as far as like he built something that could just go all kinds of different directions. Even with the Mandalorian is a good example of somebody wandering around. Jedis exist. They come across his path. They don't come across his path. But that's not the story we're telling. It's just pretty. It's
You know what the
pretty
secret to hunting Jedis is?
neat. No, I can't say that. I do.
Patience. That's what Boba Fett says.
I would love for them to explore some Revan
But it's
lore.
funny though. You know how he hunts them? He waits for them to do things that they can't help themselves but do
Oh, yeah, I remember. Yeah.
because they
What
have
show was that in? That
'cause
was
they-
in one of them.
because they can't help themselves.
Yeah.
but
do
save
the right
people.
thing, yeah.
It was. It might have been in the Mandalorian.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I remember seeing that somewhere. I like it. All right.
Ooh, we went a little Star Wars there, huh?
I love it.
Oh yeah, dude, I love hitting the nerd stuff. You know what? So I introduced Roxana. Have you guys seen F is for Family?
Yes, I've seen the first 3 seasons. I think.
You haven't seen it yet?
No, what's
Okay,
that on?
Do you have Netflix?
I do.
Okay, it's on Netflix. F is
Okay.
for Family.
F is for
It's
family.
Bill Burr's
right?
show.
Bill Burr.
Bill Burr.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, I
So,
love Bill Burr.
Yeah, and this is my understanding of the show is it's basically him retelling his childhood.
Yeah, that's kind of why I took it.
And
Yeah.
he like
That sounds screwed up.
he plays his
he
dad.
plays his dad.
Yeah, he plays his dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but what I haven't figured out is which character Bill Burr was. I kind of feel like he's the middle son.
He's got to be, dude.
Right?
He can't be that twerp, the oldest.
Yeah.
Who
Kevin.
manages to still get some pretty good, decent action.
Yeah. It's funny.
For some reason.
Oh my dick. You know what's my favorite is that Justin Long plays that character.
I didn't know that.
You know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's Justin Long, dude. The voices are so good in that show. You know who his his neighbor is, right? His coked out neighbor. That's Sam Rockford.
I don't even know who Sam Rockford is.
Sam Rockford. Okay, I feel bad for like saying this first, but everybody knows remembers this. He played Justin Hammer in Iron Man 2.
Okay, yeah.
That guy. I believe his big break was like Charlie's Angels back in the day. But he's a really good actor. He's played a lot of really good parts. Like if you haven't seen Jack, I think it's maybe it's just called Frost, and it's about it's about this old story back in the day between Richard Nixon and a journalist. Like he was trying to get the story out of Nixon for Watergate.
Oh, okay.
So I think the movie's just called Frost. But it's yeah.
I remember something.
Anyway,
about that,
Sam
yeah.
Rockwell.
I might have watched that.
Excellent actor. Like so the voice actors in the show are excellent. Like it is an excellent show. You should watch it. F is for family. You will laugh.
I just put it in my Netflix queue. So
You will laugh.
So there's another. I don't know if he's
Don't watch it with your kids.
thank you.
There's another comedian out there that I don't know if he's really a comedian, but he's on the Rogan podcast a lot, and he made that Netflix show, Midnight Gospel, right? And I can't remember the guy's name. I'm at a loss of words. I can't even say it to the tip of my tongue. But he's one of the guys that gets on there. Sometimes they wear like space suits and stuff, and he's into some conspiracy theories, but he has a tendency to do this like what they call, I think, is like word soup, where he just kind of throws a bunch of words out there, and it's not necessary. Duncan Trussell, yes, exactly.
Duncan Trussell is not really a comedian.
Yeah.
But he's very funny.
So
his voice fucking cracks me up, dude. He's got this like, yeah, man, like whiny voice. It's like makes anytime he gets excited about stuff.
Yeah,
it's hilarious.
Yeah. So what I found listening to him on the Rogan podcast, a lot of times he's just tiring to listen to, and
he's a conspiracy theorist for sure.
So when I watched his show, it was basically just him talking the entire time while stuff is going on in the background. So what you need to pay attention to is the stuff that's going on in the background, and some stuff that's going on in the background is actually kind of pretty funny. But I still have to listen to this guy like with his word soup. So I didn't really care for it, and it ended up getting canceled. So it was kind of one of those things like, yep, I can see why that show got canceled. It certainly was one of those, I'm going to take a few shrooms and then just sit behind a mic, and some animator is going to come behind me and just like animate. The premise of the show was he was some sort of like universe time traveler or something like that. So he would enter some random coordinates and then end up in some weird world or something like that. And he would sit there just talking to some being in that world.
It sounds ridiculous. That sounds like you'd have to be drinking to enjoy that show.
It was out there, dude. It was out there, and it would just be like, it's. Imagine
I say that, and we're on a podcast where we just drink constantly.
Yeah, drink and talk football and stuff.
You'd have to be drinking to enjoy that show.
So it was. Yeah, I can see why that show failed, but it's worth watching an episode or two to kind of see like what he was trying to do versus what kind of came off.
Okay,
but.
And yeah, that's it for me. I don't have anything else interesting to talk about, really.
Nope. All right.
I think that's a good place to call it a night.
Yeah, my beer's almost done.
It's time to go home.
So Wadabeezy does have one comment. The funniest show in Netflix is American Vandal. I did like the first season. The second season, I was just like, I didn't really get into the second season. So
I haven't seen it.
I'll put
I'll
that
check
in my
it-
queue.
yeah,
just
I'll check it out too.
it's a mockumentary, right?
That sounds fun.
I mean, I don't even know if it's a mockumentary. It's a fake one, right?
Sorry.
It's a fake documentary. Like the documentary is not true. That never happened. but like it's like supposed to be a documentary.
So that sounds like The Office.
Sort of.
Well, and just on Netflix, like documentary types, did you guys see the hitchhiking?
I want to.
Killer?
I want to. I haven't yet. Yeah.
My wife and I were like, what the heck? And we clicked on it. We were only going to watch it for a second, but because it's based out of Fresno, I mean, like we kept seeing like all these landmarks and at the corner of Caldwell and Nice, blah blah blah. I was just like, Well, we know that place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we ended up watching the whole thing just because it was so based in Fresno. It was hilarious. But
Was it what 3 episodes or something?
No, it's just one. It's
What's
just,
it called?
Yeah, it's what is it? The Hatchet.
The Hatchet Murderer or something like that?
The hitchhiking hatchet killer. I think something like that.
It was you would know the guy. You would see him, be like, oh, I remember him going viral for that.
Once you see once you see the guy that it's all based on, you're like, oh, I remember seeing that. And
Yeah.
it's just this guy that's like, smash, smash, smash when he beats this guy's head in.
with a hatchet.
Yeah, I don't want to give it away. Like it's worth watching at
Spoiler
least.
alert.
Yeah, watch the
Well-
first half. You should know it. Like as soon as you start watching it, you're like, oh, I kind of remember
Maybe
that.
like,
You'll
But
remember
that
it.
was 10 years ago.
Yeah. You remember
Yeah.
the hippie?
Check it, just-
He prevented. I think it was a carjacking. He prevented like a carjacking or something with a
or
hatchet.
murder or something.
Something like
was,
that, yeah.
It was something major going down, and then you get the story later on, and it was like, oh, well, maybe he was part of the. Yeah, it was. Yeah, you got to watch it. But
Okay.
it's actually worth a watch. Like I thought it was garbage, and then
And
we
you just
like
gave us away for being in Fresno.
hour and a half later, I'm like, oh,
Okay, so one
we
more
watched
question.
that.
One more question. Whatabeezy wants to know what our favorite NBA teams. I'm LA all the way, so I don't really watch NBA very much at all. But I would pick the Lakers if I had to pick.
I'm an NBA fan when it comes to playoff time. Like until the playoffs happen, I don't even pay attention. So I'm not really an NBA fan, but love the Lakers and Golden State. So
Hey, I've got good news for you. Your team just lost to my team last night.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
Who's your team?
I'm a Celtics fan. And so it's like we're having a great year. The Celtics are the number 1 team in the league. I think they're 34-12 right now. But yeah, this could start a long conversation. I have a lot of complaints about modern basketball.
And you know what? During our off season, it's something certainly we can probably touch on a little bit.
Other
is
sports?
talking about other sports. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost baseball season again. You don't love baseball?
I like playing baseball.
He's
I
a
don't like
Spurs fan.
watching
I
baseball.
love baseball. Really, you don't?
You're in Texas though, right? So that would
you
make
can't
sense.
watch baseball.
Oh, absolutely.
No. But I do understand why it became
here's-
America's sport.
so here's the
because baseball on radio makes sense.
Not
like
just radio.
It is a great
Not just
radio,
radio.
sport.
Baseball in person.
It is and in person. I agree with that too.
Baseball in person
But
is a better
on
sport to
TV?
watch than football.
On TV, it's horrible. It's just horrible on TV.
I disagree with that. So here's what I say.
it's bad.
Here's what I say about watching it on television. If you're gonna watch it on television, you have to be a fan of pitching.
Okay, I'd agree with that. Like you have to be a fan of the sport to watch it on
You
TV.
have to be
yes.
a real fan of pitching, and of everything that goes into every single pitch in baseball in order to watch it on television.
What's the count? What's their trying?
Watching it
what
in
are they
person
trying to
is another
do?
thing,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like being at the stadium, being at a baseball game is so much more fun than being at a football game. Seriously, it is. Being at a football game is intense.
And I can
I went. Hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
I went to 2 games this year, and being at football games is just like it's cool, but it's so intense.
exactly. Yep.
And but the thing is like it's like this amped up fake intensity because it's not like real intensity because they try and create intensity every single third down that happens. I don't know the last time you were at a stadium, but like
Candlestick.
I was okay. So that's 10 years. 2013 was their last game.
Wow, was it really?
Yep.
God, I'm old. Okay, go ahead.
I actually just read about this because JJ
no,
Watt.
no, that can't be right.
Yeah.
No, because I brought my daughter.
I just
and
read
she wasn't
about,
alive
I'm
back then.
sorry. I just read about this when about.
I'm just saying she was like 7.
JJ Watt played the last game in Candlestick. He happened to play in the last game in Candlestick. So he's played in it anyway.
I'm looking that up.
That's
not right.
2013 was the last year the Candlestick was a place where you could watch a football game. Anyway, every single third down that happens, whether it's actually dramatic or not, the announcer, the stadium announcer, and you can hear it on television now. That every single stadium announcer does it. Third down. And it's like, dude, it's 3rd and 14, and they're like, and they're losing 28-10 in the third quarter. Like,
No.
like, come on, nobody's getting amped up for this. So like, if it's like, it's a weird feeling. Like you feel like you're being like pushed, whereas when you're at a baseball game, there's just kind of like fun stuff happening all the time. It's like, oh, they're making a pitching change. Let's bring out the mascots and like have them run around, or let's like shoot T-shirts into the stadium. And they all, because they just have all these fun things planned, and like the baseball, like it's funny. Like you should look this up. There is a really hilarious skit by George Carlin, contrasting baseball and football. Hilarious.
I love Carlin.
Like actual hilarious. Like baseball's played at a park. Football's played on the gridiron.
I think I do remember part of that.
And all these different things. But yeah, baseball is just a fun outing. It's just it's more casual. It's just more fun.
Yes.
Like if you're gonna take your family to something. Now, if you want to go and like be like intense and like energized at something, go to a football game.
Right.
Go by yourself.
Like go with your buddies.
Yeah, or
not
your
with
buddies.
your family.
Not with your wife and kids.
Yeah.
Go go with your buddies. Go like,
Agreed.
Yes. And also be responsible. Don't be a jackass. Like, and I say that because like we were at
Because
that,
there's too many jackasses out there.
like
Agreed.
we were at that Niner game, and it's like it's raining, so the weather's bad too, and like at some point this guy wearing a Chris Godwin jersey like just hurls a beer from probably 25 rows behind me, and like it got beer on a couple people in front of me, directly in front of me, like the lady 2 rows directly in front of me got hit by it, and it's like,
What the hell are you doing?
what are you doing, dude? Like, yeah. So if you're gonna go to a football game to have fun, it's gonna be high energy. Like people are gonna be talking shit. There's gonna be a lot of stuff going on. Have a good time, but yeah, don't throw alcohol at people. But if you want to actually have a good time,
Good night, busy.
good night, BZ. Go to a baseball game. If you want to just have a good time out with your family and stuff like that, go to a baseball game for sure.
Now, I haven't been in plenty of years, but I totally agree with that.
Yeah, I just went this last year to see. We got to see the Giants and Dodgers, and we happened to be at like Clayton Kershaw had been injured for a while, and he happened to be coming back that day, so we got to see Clayton Kershaw pitch. That was really cool.
Nice.
And yeah, it's just different. It's different.
I would imagine it would be. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, you guys. I think we're gonna call it.
Yeah,
you guys
that's
all
a good
have a
time.
good night, and we'll see you all next week. We'll see.
Night
you
all. See you then.
Good night, guys. Love baseball.